Ow! What is happening, guys? Dave the Film Junkie here. It is Friday. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Who's out there? What's going on, Leo? Yo, what's up? Niner fan, Niner for life. Your team's got a little bit of a struggle this week. I'm not gonna lie. What's going on? What's going on, Parag? How you doing, Marcus? Yay! Hey, look at that! Mama Film Junkie is here. Not drinking. She's still hungover from the other night. That was 2 nights ago. I meant to text you, Mom, and see how you were doing the next day. Woo! Yes. If you guys remember, Mama Film Junkie, she retired on Wednesday, so everybody raised a glass to her for retirement. So cheers, Mom. Cheers. Good job. Lucky. I want to retire. Just kidding. What's going on? Let's get nuts, Brandon. Yes. Evan, SS, Ram. Yes. Brock again. Hey. Whoa, this thing's moving crazy. Jade, what's going on? Bennett, Jacob, what's up? Yeah, happy Friday, man. Enzo, what's up? Professor Zoom, Ben, Mr. Will Morris, always nice to see you. Rowdy. Let's see, Precursor Omega, nice. What's up, Stallone fan? Release that pen you cut. Which pen you cut? I got multiple. Just kidding. Where's Casual Superman? I don't know. He's probably out saving the world somewhere. Finally, yes, you're on time. I know I started a half hour late. What's up, Fear Jason? What's up? What's going on, Tony? Yo, what's up, George? Falson. Man, so many people here. Just everybody saying, yeah, cheers, Mom. Thank you, sir. We drinking. Of course we're drinking. So, yeah, there's Jose. What is up? Yes, and yeah, cheers to Mama Junkie. Mama Film Junkie, okay? Remember, we got to put the film in there because I don't want to say Mama Junkie. Yeah, there you go. That's better. Mama Film Junkie. What is crack-a-lacking? Yes. What is up, guys? Yes, cheers to the Vodka team. What's Jay? Yo. Cheers, man. Ashwin, sorry. What's up, Manny? So, what new shenanigans are going on in the DCU? There's plenty of new shenanigans going on in the DCEU, which we're going to be talking about tonight, of course, naturally. That's what we're going to do. Thank God it's Friday with the Film Junkie. Yes, that's right. Cheers, guys. We made it through another week. Oh, man, I tell you what, every week just today, I was over today. You know, when you just have a random pain in your neck? That's just what was happening to me today, but it's okay. We're here. What's going on, Eric? Sadly, tonight, guys, I was supposed to have a special guest. I was supposed to have a featured guest, but he had to cancel out at the last minute, or not the last minute, but he had to cancel out earlier today because he said he wasn't going to be home till later, way later. So we're going to reschedule, and we'll get it there. He'll come back. I'm not going to say who it is. It's not that particular person, which a lot of people are always wondering is it Snyder? No. It's not. It wasn't him. No, it was somebody else. That hopefully no. I see. Told you. Yeah, it was Jeff Johns. Yeah. No, but what's going on, Eric? No, it wasn't him. But he'll be. Hopefully, we can reschedule him for next week. If not, get somebody else in here. But yeah, sadly, there's not going to be a guest. But it's okay. We got plenty to talk about with the panel this week. That's for damn sure. Jesus Christ, so much to talk about. I wish it was Zach, but I think when it comes to Snyder, I'm gonna really have to schedule something. And I think like I've said before, should be a charity show, an AFSP charity show, and I want to do a one-on-one with him, 100%. So what's going on, Daniel? Not much is up. Yeah, I know. It was if only it would be Batfleck. Whoo, that'd be crazy. I would love to talk to that guy too. My God, yeah. What's going on? Mr. Kumar? How you doing? Yeah. I know. Fucking Will Rollins. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Yeah. I mean, sometimes, the sad thing is, I asked him, I think yesterday, and he was down for it. And then, it was a little too last minute. I need to do a little more ahead of schedule. That's for sure. So, yeah, but yeah, if Snyder ever does come on here and do a one-on-one, definitely going to make that a charity show, and yeah, it's gonna be that'd be definitely something for the books right there. Currently watching the Giants. you Dodger fans out there, Jose, I'm looking at you. Second game. I didn't realize they were playing a doubleheader today with the Padres. Was a little worried. Actually, I was very worried. I was just going, fuck. They're not gonna win. They're not gonna beat these guys. The Padres have their number, but the Giants won the first game. They need to win this game. They need to win all the games to stay in the wild card position. This is what they need. They're gonna make it into the playoffs. They need to win these games right here. Right now, it's 3-2 Padres in the fourth inning. Mind you, though, doubleheader games only last seven innings, so they only got 3 more innings. So it's a little scary. But if they're going to make any kind of attempt at the playoff battle, and I'm sorry, though, you Padres fans, or not Padres fans, you Dodgers fans, I mean, you better be a little worried if the Giants make it in the wild card position. They've done it before. I forgot which year of the 3 years in, the last decade that they won the World Series. But one of the years, I think it might have been 2012. I don't know. Maybe it was 2014. They made it just into the wild card position and won the entire thing. And what did the Dodgers do? Oh, the Dodgers can have the best record in baseball and still choke. 1988. Some of you probably weren't even born yet when the last time it was 2014. All right, thank you, sir. Yeah, they won. They barely got in with the wild card, and they won the whole thing. But the Dodgers can have the best record in baseball and still choke. Oh. My mom's getting no, not watching it. Now, and I will say that to my dad on Sunday. Just saying. Happy Friday. Yeah, I know. She's partially a Dodgers fan, but not as much as my dad, so But I'll still say that to him. We always joke about that. He knows it. Everybody knows it. I'm just saying. But Dave, that was a different Giants had. Yeah, Bumgarner, but Bumgarner's not the same. He's not the same as he once was. He definitely wasn't. Your money's on the Denver Cal Rockets. Yeah. I mean, they have a good shot this year. I heard there, Mr. Dawson. How's it going, sir? How you been? Everybody's still waiting. Not waiting, but everybody's still anxious about your black suit edition. I'm not. I'm just saying. We're still, even though the Snyder Cut's coming out, man. Some of those clips you're putting out, woo, man, they're looking good. Pick up the phone. What? My phone's not ringing. We're good. Got Braves fans in here. Like the shirt. Yeah, rocking the Jim Lee shirt, the Jim Lee logo today. Because, well, my guest had something to do with Batman. So I was like, it's fitting that I'd be wearing this today. So, but anyways, guys, a lot of things to talk about. A lot of things. I mean, you saw the reason why I was late today, or a little late today, is just because, because of all the news. Like yesterday, I didn't do any videos, which I should have, but I was just kind of trying to piece everything together that was happening, that was going on with, either Fisher, Diane Nelson, and everything. But I'm glad I waited, because look what happened today when the whole Joss Whedon email that came about today, which is very interesting. Scratching the head. Oh, I wish it was Michael Keaton. Oh, man, if I can get Jay Leva or Scott Snyder, come on. Nobody that notable. Nobody that notable. But like I said, we'll get them on here soon. 1 billion seconds old today. What? You're 1 billion seconds old? That's quite a count. No, but it was just because I had to do 2 videos, and one of them was long because I wanted to catch up for yesterday. Talked about Fisher, of course, his latest tweet, because I guess he was kind of thinking, he was thinking that the THR article was a little bit of a distraction hit. I don't know. It's really iffy when it comes to that article. I mean, it didn't sound like it was a hit piece. Maybe it was teeter-tottering a little bit, but then at the same time, when I start kind of reaching out to people, and they're going, well, everything's kind of just up in the air when it comes to reshoots, or not reshoots, but additional photography. I mean, just with everything, but hopefully it all happens. Then he had Collider, of course, trying to throw out their thing to be like, oh, no, Cavill don't need a reshoot. He don't need to do anything. Cavill said he doesn't need to do any extra scenes or anything like that. And it was like, oh, come on. Really? Come on, guys. Work with us. It's okay. But then of course then he had Diane Nelson, who was just like, and she was just like, I don't give a shit. Let me just talk. Let's talk. Let's talk about. Let me just make a little tweet here. It's almost like she placed like she like took like a little tiny grenade and was like, okay, and just flicked it out into the Twitter sphere. It was like, oh, there's plenty. And then she just walked away and deactivated. I mean, I was like, okay, whew, I don't know. It's really weird. Of course, Collider can't take the L. They'll never take the L. Yeah, she knew exactly. I mean, she knew. Yes, right, Ben. She knew exactly. Like, oh, she was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just respond to this. And see what happens when it starts getting attention. I deactivate. She wants to talk, but you know what? It's got to be on her terms. It's got to be on her. She's got to make sure of things. You know, it's got to be the right setting. It's got to be the right timing. You know, when it comes, she's not going to just like start singing. That's the thing. Like, as much as we want these people to start singing about what happened, you know, it's going to take a little bit. You know, it's going to take the right setting. It's going to take to make sure that they're like what Fisher has been saying, that they're protected. I mean, for all we know, maybe for all we know that Fisher and Nelson have been talking. Who knows? Maybe he's referring to her when he talks about protection and stuff. So, by the way, I bought some new pops today. I only have one that I put up here, but of course, you know, I had to get the Deadpool. I had to get the Deadpool bobblehead guy. But the rest of my pops that I bought today, they're on my TV stand. Which, if you saw my Twitter, I posted the link. I got the Doc Brown with the helmet and holding the sketch of the flux capacitor. I got the Carbonite, the Frozen and Carbonite Han Solo. I got a Harley Quinn. I got the Heath Ledger Joker, and then Deadpool. That was it, right there. Damn pops, man, can't stop. They're just so adorable. And I look at them, I'm like, I want that one. I want that one. I want that one. But yeah. So I'm like, man, I'm running out of space here. I'm almost running out of space, but I'm always going to have like a little group right here. You know, got my Flash, got my 89, of course, Batman right here. Got my Tyler Durden, my Bruce Wayne Batfleck, my Bruce Wayne, my Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne, of course, my Billy Madison. But yeah, so. Can't stop. Did I ever? Oh, yeah. I liked Legos for a bit. Legos were fun. But I wasn't like too big into them. Not as much as like some of my friends and stuff. So what's going on? What's going on, Joker? Just chilling. But yeah, anyways, when it comes to everything, I mean, and then of course, then I had to do a video, of course, about Aldous Hodge, who of course is playing Hawkman in the Black Adam movie. So is Batfleck your favorite? My favorite right now, I don't know what. I think my favorite might be the Killer Clown. I got a Killer Clown from outer space guy. Well, I got my Slimer too. Slimer's pretty cool. I got a Slimer one, but I don't know. I think I'm really digging my Doc Brown with the helmet on, with the memory reading or the mind reading helmet and the flux capacitor sketch. That's kind of like my favorite right now. I'm not gonna lie. There's just so much to it. But it's so weird how, I mean, I guess I'm wondering if it's because of all the backlash and the fact that it's R-rated. Why don't they have a Joaquin Phoenix Joker pop? Because I would really like to get that Joker pop. I want to collect. I want to get all the Batmans and all the Jokers. And of course, I want to get all the Back to the Futures. I almost went crazy on the Back to the Futures. They had like the 55 Marty. They had the 2015 Marty. They had the Biff Tannen. But I was like, no, let me just get the Doc Brown right now. Yeah. For a while there, I was like not really big on the pops either. I had the BVS collection of pops that my mom got me for one Christmas. I had those, and somebody got me the Jared Leto Joker one. But then all of a sudden, like, you know, the comic book shop that's like at the mall right around the corner from my house, they're just loaded up. They're fucking loaded up, just like wall to wall, and there's like 3 for $27. So I'm like, and then now I'm just like, I see all the different kinds, it's not just like superheroes and stuff. They're just like the movie ones are what get me, just random ones, like fucking, Billy Madison. Oh, back to school, to prove to dad that I'm not a fool. So, do you want pops for? Sure. Go ahead, give me some pops. And thanks for telling everybody it's my birthday next week. Yes, it is. So I think next Friday we'll have like a birthday. We'll have a birthday vodka stream. We'll have a birthday vodka stream. It's not, my birthday is actually Thursday, but Friday we'll have one. I know you did that on purpose. Yeah. Shampoo is better. Conditioner is better. I make your hair silky and smooth. Oh, really, fool? Thoughts on Sean O'Connell is going to be on Perry Donoff show tomorrow. Well, I hope that's good. That's a good show to get on, right, Eric? I would say so. But yeah, so yeah, I know some people don't get for a while there. I didn't get the pops either, but for some reason, all of a sudden, I'm like, I can't stop. I love these little dudes. I mean, geez, it's so they're adorable. They're adorable. I don't know. I'm not one of those people, though. I'm not one of those people that keep them in the box, though. I'm not going to be those kind of people where my whole place is gonna. I know nothing against Wonder Meg, if you're watching. I'm not throwing any shade. I get it, but I'm just I'm not gonna. I pull them out of the box. I'm like, I'm not gonna be one of those. And I just have them nice and spread out with all the other stuff that I have. So no, not keeping them in the box. Not gonna be one of those. I like them out of the box. I like to hold them. I mean, come on. Got Barry Wary right here with his crazy transparent legs. No. I'm one of those that takes it out of the box. What's in the box? Toys need to come out of the box. Yes. Speaking of toys, I wanted to bring this up. And Mom, since you're out there, because you bought me all these. Somebody posted this, and I was like, yes, I had every single one of these pieces of toys when it comes to Ghostbusters. Right here. Look at this. This brought me back. I mean, this is from the JCPenney catalog. I used to love looking into the JCPenney catalog. I always go to the toy section of the JCPenney catalog. And then when my mom wasn't looking, I looked at the bra and panties section. No, but I had every piece here. I had the proton pack with the badge. I'm the laser that you stuck in the gun. I would just use that to hit my brother. I had the PKE meter right there. And this part right here of the antenna broke off like almost instantly. I mean, this thing was like so cheap. It was like, there's no way that you couldn't break this. So that broke off very instantly. And of course I had the Ecto 1. This kid is sitting in a very weird way holding that. I had the ghost trap. The ghost trap was powered by air. Like when you press the trigger, like the little stepper thing, it would just like shoot air to open this thing up. And yeah, there was like a little ghost inside. And I had this Ghostbuster gun, and then I had these figures right here. But yeah, Jesus, that brought me back right there. And they're probably in a crate somewhere in my mom's garage. I don't know if she threw them out, but they're there. They're somewhere right there. So yeah. So anyways, guys, I guess I've been talking a little too much to myself, to you guys. Let's see. Start inviting some people in this thing. All right. So that. Let's go with that. I'm just sending out all the links. Let's see who else. Where else? That one. Okay, wait a minute. There was another one. Where we go? Where there it is. Okay. I always have them preset. Anyways, so yeah. But yeah, that took me back. Ghostbusters right there. Woo, yeah. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Let me start typing some stuff here. All right. Get some peeps in here, see what they think about what happened this week. Yeah, when I saw that, I mean, I love that J.C. Penney catalog when it came to the toy section. So good, so good. Anyways, all right, first one to join. Always the first one to join. We love the guy, Mr. Scott McClellan. What's going on, sir?
I'm always waiting on you, Dave. That's just how it
Oh,
goes sometimes.
there you go. I didn't have my volume up. Sorry.
It's
My
fine.
bad. Yeah,
I'm always waiting on you, Dave. It's
I
okay.
know. It's all right. You're always waiting backstage. You're always the
It,
first one here. You're always punctual. You know, I can always depend on you to be the first one here.
well, I have to thank you for making sure that you started at 10:30 my time because that gave me just enough time to finish Enola Holmes. So that was
How was that? How was it?
charming.
Hmm.
Very, very, very
And-
charming. I mean, it's based on a YA novel, basically, and you get that sense watching the movie. So just
sure.
go in with that level of expectation. And Millie Bobby Brown is just delightful. She does a lot of fourth wall breaking, which you get from the trailer.
Yeah,
And it's just, I mean, and since it's on Netflix, you know, the threshold for me to enjoy a Netflix movie is so low because it's just like, did I enjoy myself? Cool. It's on Netflix. It didn't cost me anything extra. It's just there. It didn't cost me anything extra to watch it.
It's true. Yeah, I'll probably watch it this week, and I want to see it. How was Cavill in it?
Fine. I mean, he really it is a strictly supporting role. It is. Yeah. I mean, it is. So he does the character. He does the character proud. I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. Have been since the 3rd grade. So, I mean, that was basically my main incentive to watch the movie. Was basically anything Sherlock Holmes related.
You're all about it. How do you like the Downey Jr.?
I do enjoy the Downey movies. Is it different? Yes, but some of the criticisms that people level at those movies, you've obviously never read the stories to understand. It's not too terribly far off. I have my favorite, my favorite interpretation, obviously,
which is
the Jeremy Brett television series from Granada that used to show when we were kids. It would show on Mystery on PBS. And that was like,
that was your bag right there.
That was my bag. Like that is the most accurate, with a nice honorable mention to the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock series on BBC. That thing was fabulous.
Yeah, everybody loves that one. And when it comes, I've seen a couple of like episodes, but I never like really got into the Cumberbatch one. But I mean, I like the Downey Jr. movies. Now I think with Guy Ritchie's style, it worked a lot when it came to him analyzing things, you know, and you had like the voiceover and him like just basically analyzing the entire and everything moving fast and then slow and then fast. I thought it was a good dynamic, and I'm hoping there's going to be a third one, but it sounds like Guy Ritchie is not going to end up doing it if that's the case.
If he doesn't do it, I didn't.
Yeah,
why do it? I mean, because they had his flavor. Like, once you watch the first one, and I'll admit, I watched the first one. Not that I didn't know who Guy Ritchie was, but it wasn't one of the I didn't connect the dots. Like, I didn't watch it because it was a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah,
I watched it because it was a Sherlock Holmes movie.
Yeah.
So once you realize it's a Guy Ritchie movie, you go, "Oh, I get it. I connect the dots here."
Yeah, you connect the dot. I mean, it's definitely his style. I mean, that's when they really. I think like after. I mean, when he did King Arthur, which I kind of enjoy. I don't know how you felt about King.
I have never finished it yet. Once again, King Arthur, another one of my jams. Like serious. It's scary. I wrote a paper in everything. I actually have a published paper on King Arthur. So I'm like Doc Awkward actually wanted to read it when he was doing his Grail series on Mosaic.
Oh, really?
I'm nerd.
Nerd.
But I was trying to watch the movie with my wife, and when my wife's not into something, you just like, if I bought it. I know. When you watch it with someone and they're totally not into it, it's like,
it's hard. It's hard to do that. Like, especially like if I've tried to show Eddie, like, Cape shit, or something like that to somebody who's not really into it. God, you almost start questioning yourself. You're like, maybe this is not that great. You start like doubting.
No, I think it's like if I'm going to watch something with someone,
Yeah.
I want them to enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying it. Otherwise, the communal aspect is like, I might as well just wait and watch it by myself where I can just have that one-on-one experience.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, when it came to his King Arthur, it was like, it felt like he felt like Guy Ritchie really couldn't do what he wanted to do. It felt like there was some studio interference. And then even, I mean, I don't know. Did you see Aladdin?
I have watched portions of I am not a proponent of the Disney live action remakes. Yeah. I have only watched 2 of them in their entirety, and neither one of which I paid for. And so the Aladdin one was one of those where my wife watched it. I refused to watch it. And then she was like, oh, it's fine. Then I basically just skipped. I just skipped to like, I wanted familiar to watch you. Yeah, like I ain't never had a friend like me. You know, I was like, I want to see what these moments look like. I watched Prince Ali, you know, that kind of thing. And then I saw enough to go,
that's it.
That's it. Nope. Yeah, I'm good. And it does not feel like a Guy Ritchie movie. No, at all.
No, that's that. I mean, there's like a little. There's a part where he, it steals something and he's doing some crazy, what do they call that?
Parkour.
Parkour. I was like, almost said parquet. Parkour. We're like, and I was like, okay, it's getting a little Guy Ritchie, but then it never feels like a Guy Ritchie film. And that was one of my gripes about. I mean, what was that? Was that last year? It feels like it feels like decades ago.
It was last year. Weirdly.
So there was three live actions that came out last year. It was Lion King, Dumbo, and Aladdin.
Which are the 3 I've seen?
Yes. What'd you feel about Dumbo?
Okay, to begin with, I know. To begin with, one, I have no affection for Dumbo. Yeah. At all. Like that's not a movie that I connected with as a child. Okay. And then when I watched it, I was like, well, the one compliment I'll give is it feels like a Burton movie.
Oh yeah. Definitely felt. I mean, that's the thing. That's what I was getting to. The other 2 live actions did not Lion King didn't feel like a Favreau. Aladdin didn't feel like a Ritchie. But Dumbo felt like a Burton. Right. Had his fingerprints all over it.
Well, I think it also helps that Dumbo was like it struggles to be an hour long, so they had to let him
do his thing
to make it a movie.
Characters, you know what? I mean, out of the 3, I enjoyed that one the most. It's not like I'm watching it like, oh, I've watched it already like 6 times now. I don't think I've even watched it again. But I walked out of there going, you know what? That actually, it felt like Disney gave Burton, hey, do your thing. But when it came to Lion King, I was like, okay, all they did was just they just put 3D around the freaking cartoon.
The best story I have about Lion King was my in-laws took my boys to go see it in theater. And now my middle child, all he did for like the first, I don't know how long in the theater was, I want to watch the cartoon one. And I was just like, I have raised. Awesome. Raised my children right.
You've done parenting well. And speaking of like parenting, that video that you posted earlier with your kid, that was adorable. I'm pulling it up. Oh
my God.
I wanted to share. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, I've posted out there. You can see. I mean, Callum's been on the show. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, he has been on the show, but let me see it. Yeah, this is a great video that Scott posted right here, showing the new Snyder Cut footage right here, and it's basically it's his. Look at that, flying right there with the music and everything. This is called parenting right, folks. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, that was adorable. What made you do that video? You were just holding them in that perfect position and you just thought of it?
Yeah. Yes. Heather was cleaning out the hall bathroom because she's been nesting since she's been home on maternity leave, and she's been reorganizing. And she said, "Here, hold the baby." And I held the baby. And then I'm a nerd dad, so just like, I have an idea. And I was like, I have my phone. I have Hans Zimmer on my iPad. Let me play the music while I video my kid. And yes. And then that was born.
That was beautiful. The only thing that would have made it better if you put a little cape on him next time. You got to find like a little cape, just a little cape, and it would have been perfect.
Oh yeah. And you don't think I have enough capes around my house?
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you got something lying around that next time. I'm just giving my, a little more production value. That thing's going to go viral.
I understand. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was good. All right. We got somebody else backstage right now. It's going to join. Mr. John Aaron Garza doesn't have his camera on, but it's okay. All we need is your voice, sir. What's up? Uh-oh. Garza? Uh-oh. Maybe he doesn't have his audio on. All right. It's cool. Well, we'll just look at you, looking sharp, raising your fist up. Is he? I don't hear anything. You don't hear anything, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Feels like there's some fuzziness that's happening.
I hear some movement, like something's brushing up against the mic. Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on, Garza? I don't know. Did you butt stream us? Is that what's happening? Is that even a thing? Could that even be possible?
I don't know. I don't know.
Interesting stuff. But anyways, all right. Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, fix your mic, Garza. I'm going to go ahead and remove you for the time being until well, there it is. We're hearing stuff. Are you driving?
I don't know, Dave.
I don't know what's going on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now we can.
You are driving, aren't you?
And he's gone.
Yeah, there it is. But anyways, all right. So, while the others take their time getting here, let's start talking about some of the stuff that happened this week. So, it seems like not even this week; it's more like the past 24 hours. Where first off, we had the Hollywood Reporter article talking about the additional shoots. Remember, we had to clarify that. What did you think of that article?
I will admit that when I tweeted it out and I shared it, I intentionally framed my tweet to focus on basically what's the first two paragraphs of the article, because that's what I wanted to. I wanted to focus on the positivity. I wanted to focus on, we knew there was going to be additional photography, and now we're getting a report that's happening in October. That's what I wanted to focus on, because the headline caught my attention. And as I read the article, I became increasingly disturbed at how only about the first two paragraphs were about the additional photography, and the rest was about the Ray Fisher situation and was reporting it questionably. And that's how I'm going to characterize that.
Yeah, when it was funny too, because it was Wednesday. Of course, it was all going to happen on Wednesday, because I was kind of like going, maybe I'm not going to have a show because of, my mom's retirement dinner. And I was kind of like going, I probably won't have a show. I'll do one on Thursday. But then all of a sudden there's like all this stuff comes out. So I'm like rushing home. Literally as I'm clocking out from work, this damn article drops. I get a tweet, somebody links me to it. I'm like, shit, really? Is that real? Oh man. And it turns out Garza was on the road. I guess he was driving. He said he'll be here in about a half an hour. Okay, that's cool. We'll be here all night. But so that happened. So I'm going, shit. So I'm rushing home. Of course, I live in Southern California. There's traffic. And I'm just going, okay, I'm going to have to do a show. I'll just do a show. Luckily, the traffic wasn't that crazy. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go on. I'll go on at like 4:15, just blah, blah, do it like a 45, half hour, 45-minute show. And then we'll talk about it. So I didn't get to really read through the article. I read as I was pretty much live. Like I knew it, like I saw bits and pieces. And so when I read it, I was like, okay, seems pretty like, it's not too bad. And then when I reread it, I'm like, okay. When I did follow-up videos, I even talked about it. Like, yeah, it teeter-totters a little bit. Mm-hmm. It teeter-totters a little bit where it's like, is this, is there like, it talks about this, and then then it starts talking about the situation, and I'm like, yeah, I could see. And then of course Fisher, like I guess was it Thursday, he tweeted out something in regards of that article talking about sources and stuff like that, and the investigation is coming. So it was a little weird. And then even me, and of course me, I start going through my normal thing of like, I talk, I send a message to this person and that person and that person, and I kind of just go like, what's going on here, and the response I got was, it is a little iffy. I mean, that's the way this year has been. I mean, when it comes to production, and you hear things like in the news, and you almost got to take it with a grain of salt now, because we've heard so many times where it's like, oh, the Batman is going to start production. It's going to start production Thursday. And then all of a sudden, no, it's going to wait till October or above, and then when it comes to like all these shoots that are happening, you just don't know like the details behind it. And it's like, yes, we know that Snyder wants to do it, but there's just the logistics of everything right now it's got to be a pain in the ass when it comes to getting these productions, especially these big productions
with this many people involved. Yes. Like Army of the Dead reshoots just wrapped up.
Yeah.
But you can imagine, because they were basically doing them to replace
it was basically character. Tig Notaro in front of a green screen kind of thing.
Right. And then the crew that would be involved with that's not the same as bringing in all these A-list Hollywood actors to do whatever it is that it's going to be. I will admit that when I read the article, I took the first part of it as face value news. Just cool.
Yeah.
Week of additional photography in October. That wasn't a giant shock to us because we knew about the slate that Victor won. We knew, unlike apparently anyone else, that additional photography is happening. Like,
poor Victor was getting like all kinds of tweets, man. His mentions must have been a disaster when that happened. What are you doing right now? Yeah.
I contributed to that, so I ain't gonna lie.
Oh yeah. Everybody did.
So
I'm sorry, I'm watching the Giants game. They're winning now.
Fine. I've got football starting tomorrow, so
there you go. Hey, there you go. Some college football, right?
Oh yeah, Bama versus Missouri.
Ooh, that's a big game, huh? Is that a big game? Okay.
No, it's just the first game of the season, and SEC teams are only playing, like, this will be the first time ever that every game we play is 100% in conference.
Okay.
So people who, like, in the West Division and the East Division that we don't always play every year, we're going to get, like, our entire schedule is just going to be conference opponents. So none of those powder puffs that we play, no, it's every game's a conference game.
That's kind of cool. I mean, one of the things that COVID has done is really stranglehold some of these leagues. I mean, with baseball, it cut, 60 games. Every game like counted, the way that they changed some of the rules, I'm actually kind of digging. Like they're playing a doubleheader today, and they only go 7 innings. They don't go the full 9. So it's like, holy shit! Like it's the 6th inning right now. We got one more inning here, after this. So, but anyways, we got 2 more guys backstage. We got Mr. Ben Everett and Mr. Stephen Colbert. What's up, gentlemen?
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, Stephen? You're in a what did you get? Did Amanda put you in a closet? What's going on?
He's got chalkboard in the back. That's what he's got.
I'm in a continual process of renovating this room, and the current status is I have studs up for a new wall, and I painted the back wall with a chalkboard. So maybe week to week you'll see a minor evolution over the course of I don't know, ideally not more than a month or 2.
Nice. What's going on, Mr. Ben? How you doing? How's the chest? How's the pain in your chest?
Oh, it's all gone. I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good. I'm 100% already.
It's crazy when, like, let's face it, when you get up there in the age, I'm not even saying that. Remember when I thought I had a kidney infection? Turns out it was just I tweaked my back. And I was like, I went to like, what the fuck is going on? Just like you, It was like, it felt like it was an internal pain. It was shooting up, and I'm like, oh man, it's got to be something in my kidneys. I got kidneys. Something's going on in my kidneys. And now I'm like, nah, I just strained it. And then it's just like relaxed for a week, didn't make sure I didn't strain it. Gone. It's fine. Rub some icy hot on it. We're good.
Yeah, I haven't tried that position again, so I'm all good.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, what was going on? That night. Yeah. But anyways, thank you for joining as usual, gentlemen. We were just getting into the Hollywood Reporter article talking about the additional shoots. I know, like, it's funny because we always got to decipher between reshoots and additional shoots. Like at first, I even typed when I made my Film Junkie Live, it was like reshoots, and I'm like, no, it's not. Well, even though maybe it could be if maybe there is some kind of reshooting happening. I don't know.
And it's hard because also you're talking about like colloquial usage versus like being more technical. Like it's additional photography, but people know, like people identify that part of the process with the word reshoots often. But then reshoots also have all this baggage. So it's like, how do you start talking about this in order to like A, not piece people off, but also B, like be clear about like what is actually being talked about.
Reshoot has that negative connotation to it.
It really does.
It's like you didn't get it right the first time, so we're gonna reshoot that shot again.
Even though they're typically like planned from the beginning, Snyder doesn't need them as much because of how meticulously he storyboards.
Right.
But I mean, even like Army of the Dead, for example, had reshoots, but those reshoots were because they ran out of time in New Mexico before like the rainy season started, and they were scheduled to go to Atlantic City. And so when they were done shooting in Atlantic City, there was still like a scene or two that they needed to go back to New Mexico to shoot. And so like it was reshoots, but it was like that was actually additional photography.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That sounds like additional.
You weren't redoing something, you were getting the rest of something.
Right, exactly. But
yeah,
so that's where you see that the terminology like kind of bleeds around a lot. I think people are too sensitive to the word reshoots, but also because reshoots are a subset of additional photography. So I don't know.
As well as every time we talk, we need a chart.
Yeah.
That chalkboard behind you is going to be coming in really handy.
I know. We need to get some whiteboards. All of us need to have whiteboards like right here. We got to like have like stuff.
Chalkboards
to the world, whiteboards, chalkboards,
expo markers. We're like,
we're gonna be ready to go. Be like Charlie Day and fucking.
So you see, reshoots. All reshoots are additional photography, but not all additional photography are reshoots.
Oh my god! And there's a name. Isn't that a syllogism? Isn't that what you call that? Is like Mickey is a mouse, but not all mice are Mickey. And, it's kind of like all sarcasm is verbal irony, but not all verbal irony is sarcasm.
Oh, man. See?
Yeah.
Just making my brain go like flying here, man.
This is what you get when you get the panel. Then you wait then you wait for another 2 hours when we've had enough to drink, and then we're all on the floor.
On the same level.
Exactly.
Very true. It's very true. No, but when it comes to the article, I mean, Stephen and you and I kind of talked about it one-on-one too a little bit, where it's like, because a lot of people were going, was it a hit piece? Was it like disguised as a hit piece? And we were kind of like, but then, when you like Scott said, the first couple paragraphs talk strictly about that, and then it veers into the situation, and he kind of like maybe it teeter-totters.
But like, humor me by walking through my thought process here. What's the hit?
I would say, I guess it would be like what people are thinking is it's to Ray Fisher, but at the same time, what exactly is the hit? I didn't really
focuses on him, but also like keep in mind, this is a big deal, as it should be. What Hollywood Reporter is doing is giving it the weight that it deserves, right? Because the fact of the matter is that Ray is demanding an investigation happen into this movie, into his part in this movie. Done by Warner Media, and now Warner Media is in charge of the reshoots because the movie's being done underneath them. So there is a question of how does this, does this impact Ray's relationship with them in any way, or is this, there are questions there. So I think it's very fair to ask. But then the question of whether or not it's a hit piece, like it's definitely worth bringing up. Is it worth spending half of the article on it? I don't know. Is the fact that he had 3 scenes in The Flash relevant? I don't know. But also, like, what in there does it say that's like, that really paints Ray in a bad light? I think it represents everything factually. It includes the proper context that Momoa also spoke out.
True.
And so it's not like it was like you compare it to that piece by from The Wrap, where it was like it was connecting dots that aren't connected, where it was like, hey, he ended negotiations and then immediately started tweeting angry stuff about Whedon. Like, it doesn't do any of that. It just says, here's what he's said, here's what Momoa has said, here is his status with Warner Brothers, with Warner Media.
And here's what a couple of sources have said as well. I mean,
right.
I get what I can see, and I'm sorry, Ben. But I always feel Ben always gets the short end of the straw.
It's okay.
I'm so sick of it.
He has his own show. It's fine.
Yeah. I do plenty of talking.
But I think it's just what some people could look at is what was the purpose of the article overall? Was it about the Ray Fisher situation, or was it about the additional photography? That I think is a legitimate question to ask based on the amount of the article that is spent on the 2 topics.
Right.
Personally, I feel like it almost feels like it should have been 2 pieces, or as if the additional photography was just the excuse to be able to bring up the Ray Fisher situation.
I will mention that I think it was the Vodka stream last week, where I said look for the Hollywood, because they had just published the thing last week about Keelar and Keelar's statement.
It's been off. Yeah.
And if you remember, I was sitting in this chair with a different background,
and an additional person.
Yes. Yeah. And I said, look next week for more focus on this topic from the Hollywood Reporter. And so that's kind of what I see this as being. And so that's why I come back to that question of what's the hit. Like, I don't have any investment in like proving that it isn't. I just don't know, like, what's the damage? How does this damage Ray? How does this damage what Ray is trying to do? How does this paint him in a bad light? Does it paint Zach in a bad light?
I think the only part of that maybe you couldn't. Ben, go. I'm gonna shut up now.
All right. Well, before you go, we got another person showing up. We got Mr. Shiraz Faruqi. What's up, man?
Hey, Shiraz.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Shine some light on this.
Shiraz is a good one to chime in on this. Why don't you go before Ben?
Yeah. Just start talking. We don't need Ben to talk. No. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, no. The thing that I was because I read the article, and one thing that stood out was the Josh Whedon information. I was like, okay, why this information is here? Because we already know this man is already in tarnished this product. So why include it in this Justice League piece that you try to put out? So that's what to Steven's point, what I feel like they squeezed that in there without any context. Why that was not part of the conversation. Not even if they wanted to speak about Whedon treatment of the artist during the shooting, okay, fine. But why even mention that he's still part of HBO and that he's working on this project and the name of the project and all these things? It felt like, okay, he's still part of this other core group. He's still part of the other company. He's still working. He's still on the payroll. That's what I gathered from that.
It is, but wouldn't you find that to be relevant information? Like, imagine you're approaching this with no information, and or let's say you were backing Joss Whedon and it didn't include that information. Wouldn't you be like, he's still working with them? They're acting like he's been fired already, and he's not. Like, the fact that he still has an active relationship with Warner Media, I think is very relevant if you're going to mention the complaints. Now, at what point do you shut that off? Like, I'm someone who, obviously I'm talking again instead of letting Shiraz talk. So like I'm always overboard on the context and the additional sharing. So I recognize, like, you can't include everything in every single article.
Right.
But to me that feels like a relevant, like, if you're going to be fair to both sides, if you're going to say, here's what Ray Fisher said, then you should also point out, by the way, Whedon still has this project in development. So it's not like he's been booted yet or anything.
Yeah,
true. What are your thoughts, Shiraz? Or Scott, did you have something first?
No,
or?
I was pointing. I was doing that whole weatherman thing. I was pointing in the wrong direction.
No, Shiraz, what did you think about the article?
No, I think a lot of you guys, hit some of the major points, and a lot of the feelings you guys resonated tonight so far are in line with kind of what I'm thinking. But when the article dropped, I was just like, I was in the middle of class, so
yeah, I said, I just clocked out from work, and I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, so I took a look at it, and the sentiment at the time was the headline, because I didn't get a chance to read it till a little later. So the headline, I'm like, okay, in the headline, you're already mentioning Ray Fisher with the news, so you're bringing that baggage with it, which was expected. I think a lot of us had that kind of heads up that the Hollywood Reporter is going to be dropping a piece, if not more than one piece, this week, right? And this was the first one. And look, people saw it coming. A lot of us saw it coming. So it's kind of like, okay, if you know it's coming, what is exactly being said? And again, this comes down to context. And Stephen kind of talked about a lot of it, that what is new in this piece, what is being stated, and who is kind of getting the big push of the blame. I know people close to, let's say, Ray's camp weren't happy about it, but in my opinion, when I'm looking at the whole thing, it comes off more as, if it is aggressive to Ray, it's more passively aggressive than it is let's say the rap, which went more straight up kind of bully ball when it comes to the way they wrote that one. But it's one of those things where a source described it to me as, if you take a pile of garbage and you put an ice cream cone, fresh ice cream cone on it, it's still going to be garbage at the end of the day. But so when you look at that analogy, so what does that mean? When someone told me that, I'm like, okay, the ice cream cone in this situation is that the cast is coming together, right? So that means the information that technically the Hollywood Reporter is breaking on this is the call sheet they got, which had XYZ's name, right? Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck. So Henry Cavill, I know there's been more debate on that, but it had, the majority of the cast, including Ray Fisher. But then right there, that was maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs. So you got your nut graph, you got that main part at the beginning, but then the rest of the piece really just sticks to Ray Fisher's story, looking at both sides, looking at what's coming new. So then it comes to, okay, so what was the point of this article? What's the objective here? So is the objective, one can say, if you're thinking more in a paranoid sense, that, okay, you put something nice and shiny for most of the fans and be like, okay, we're getting new Justice League scenes and everyone's concentrated on that, and then you can slip in whatever official narrative points you want to get out there, the studio wants to get out there. So in this case, whatever you want to get out about Ray Fisher, if you want to make a point about how he asked for more money, whether that's true or not, but what they're writing, what they're reporting is that he asked for a double of whatever they had for the 3-scene shoot for Flash. Well, when you put a contextual line like that, so what are you implying now? You're implying by putting it next to Ray Fisher's Fuller story, the implication is that, oh, he only decided that he's going to go after the accountability, entertainment, that kind of stuff, only after, the stalemate in negotiations. And I think that's a disservice to what Ray's trying to do, right? So it's one of those things where it's tricky, but THR is way better at this game than the rap is. So, of course, they did it in a way that on a journalistic level, it's all up and up. You're not seeing anything where you can outright call it out that, oh, yeah, this is something that is like Bush League. But so on paper, it actually does kind of fit the bill. But when you actually unearth it and see what is the meaning behind it, what is the purpose of it, then you can tell that, if the studio wanted to get a narrative out there about Ray, but then kind of slide it underneath a bigger, shinier story that, hey, look, all the cast coming back together, then you can do that. So it's a, like we said, like I said last time I came on your stream, but it's a chess match, and it's going to continue to be a chess match for a while. And everyone has all these different pieces they want to move at different points. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But this is just one of those pieces, and obviously we all have to react to it now and kind of see what the context is.
And Shiraz, to your point, that line, because I picked up on that when I read the article. I went, because if you know how to read things, you read that and go, well, that was a choice. That was a choice to put that in there. But
it would also be a choice to exclude it.
Right, exactly. It's all author's craft. It's all about choices and what's their intent and purpose. I will also say that it's interesting that it's more towards the bottom of the article. And as we've also learned in our years of experience, that dang, a lot of people don't make it to the bottom of an article. Let's be honest.
They barely make it past the headline. Yeah, no.
You gotta make it past the headline if they click on anything at all. So I guess the question becomes, is it the intention of do you bury it down there because you're burying it, or do you want to put it down there so that certain people see it and other people, don't pay attention? Like I said, I was sharing the article because of the big shiny thing, because once again, even though I had read the whole thing, I wanted to celebrate the positive, the ice cream cone.
Yeah, the shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that there's also a question there of like, is that factual information? And I guess that's something we don't know, like what was asked for, what was offered. And so if that's a misrepresentation of what happened, then that's a problem. But like I said, I don't see where there was explicit damage from this unless it's just reinforcing the narrative of getting more information out about his negotiations on the Flash, which seem to be maybe what Warner Brothers thinks is their edge on him when it comes to the narrative. But my sort of philosophy the whole time when it comes to this story in general is that as long as it is getting attention, it's in Ray's favor.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers' best option is for people to not think about it and for it to not be a big deal. So if I were Warner Brothers, I would say, don't you dare put that in the headline. Don't make it don't dedicate an article. Don't remind everybody that Ray Fisher is making accusations against us. We're trying to make it seem like not a big deal. And so we're not going to talk about it at all. I think that maybe I'm better at this than Warner Brothers sometimes. And so maybe that didn't necessarily come to their mind. So if they're trying to use this article for, shady purposes, I can see, maybe they made a bad call. But I think also, like, you look at what's the fallout and like what are people talking about, and I didn't see any of like the usual suspects picking out those details and saying, see, look, this adds to the Ray, even Jody. Not that I watch Jody's Corner regularly, but
don't lie.
Well, I don't. I guess I should say I don't know, but I feel like if he had made a big deal out of it, it usually ends up on the timeline in some way, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't see any of the usual suspects making a big deal out of that, like they did with the rap article, which I agree completely with Shiraz. They don't have nearly the tact. Like Boris is like a real reporter. Umberto is like a fanboy that kind of graduated into that role. And so so Boris not only is like the Hollywood Reporter like more prestigious, but also Boris is just more talented at crafting this stuff. But that's just kind of my overall approach. It goes back to my initial question of like, what's the hit, or like what's the actual damage? And maybe there was malintent or not. If there was, I don't think it did a good job at damaging anything. All it really did is made people talk about Zack Snyder for 3 days again, nonstop.
True. But what about Ray's like tweet when he was talking? Do you think that he was specifically referencing that article? I mean, it does seem like he was. Yeah. Do you think like what's your idea with that?
I'm personally a big proponent of not pushing like you always push the most believable narrative, even if like you believe a conspiracy, you push the most acceptable narrative first. And I think he's gone a little bit overboard in like specifically that Batman, the Ben Affleck article that he called out from Vanity Fair, that he said, look at the timing they dropped this. Wouldn't have been better for fandom. And like I get the logic there, and so it's like a very sensible thing for him to do. But anyone who's like in the industry immediately calls BS on that, because they know that article. It was like 90 minutes later. That article from Vanity Fair from Anthony Bresnikan. If you know these names, these people in these publications, this article doesn't fabricate itself with quotes from Muschietti in there in 90 minutes. Also, if you read that article, you saw that Affleck had only signed like a week or so beforehand.
Yeah,
and that fandom was all pre-recorded.
That's the thing that I was thinking about too. It was like, well, if it was meant for fandom, why didn't they still have him show up at fandom?
Exactly, and you would if they were able to. Even if they dropped that article early, there still would have been mention of him in the panel. If they had footage of him in the panel, that's not something they're going to scrap. It's footage of Ben Affleck talking about Batman at Fandom. That's a big deal, right?
Yep.
And so I will say I wholly will accept that the article maybe was fast tracked or dropped a few hours earlier than it was intended to, or a day earlier or something because of his tweet. I'll accept that. That they called him up and say, hey, I know we said let's do this tomorrow, but let's go ahead and do it as soon as possible. But he lost a lot of credibility with the press when he accused that article of being a hit piece.
Yep.
Because the press knows that the article wasn't assembled that fast. They know that that Fandom was pre-recorded, before Affleck signed. They know all these things, and so while I support Ray and I believe everything he said. He says this, and that starts to call into question now. Okay, so these other things, is he treating everything with the same level of scrutiny that he treated this one? And so I'm always really sensitive to start calling out hit pieces or conspiracy pieces and just dismissing them outright, because I think that it really kind of diminishes your credibility. It's a cried wolf situation where you look at the Snyder Fandom and nobody believes, when fans say the cut exists, when and it's all this other stuff that's going around. And part of the reason they don't is because there's a demonstrated lack of understanding of the way some of these things work. And so as a fandom, when they start saying things, people are predisposed to not believe it because of look at all the way the journalists that said that the Snyder Cut was being reshot by Whedon and taken away from Snyder. Man, I was one of them. I was railing against that. I wrote a whole bunch of articles about how that's not true, and people were threatening journalists and stuff because how dare you report that that's not true? It's still Zach's movie. Look, Jeff Johns said that it's still Zach's movie. Emmerich or whoever, said it's still Zach's movie. And a lot of journalists and bloggers were treated really poorly over that. And then look at what we've been fighting for the last 3 years now. No, clearly they were all wrong on that. So how are you going to take the same people who told you were an idiot? So if someone says you're an idiot for suggesting it's not Snyder's movie, and then a few weeks later they come back to you and they're like, that clearly wasn't Snyder's movie. You need to support the Snyder Cut now. You're going to be like, I'm not listening to you. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point, Stephen, also something that I've been thinking about is the fact that look at the difference between Fandom Day 1 and Fandom Day 2. Fandom Day 1 was a 8-hour block of yes, but also you weren't going to drop any news during that 8-hour block because what did you want your audience doing? You wanted your audience glued to the screen for 8 hours for that stream. So no news could be expected to drop during that 8-hour period. That would be different than Fandom Day 2, where it opened up at noon, and then you just, a la carte pick stuff. That's why things like the Doom Patrol Season 3 renewal and what other news we got that dropped on that day. Well, it was easy to drop it on that day because everyone was just getting to it whenever they were getting to things. Unlike Day 1, there was no way that Ben Affleck news could have dropped. Once that stream started, you didn't want anything.
Unless it was packaged, unless the announcement was packaged as a part of the Flash panel.
Yeah.
Unless that's where the reveal was. But because it was pre-recorded, it
couldn't be.
Right. Unless it had been signed, he had signed on and had time to record ahead of time.
I mean, you almost want to think
he was on the Snyder panel, so obviously he had time to record something at some point, and so clearly the Flash deal wasn't done when he recorded for the Snyder panel.
And we know when some of the things for the Snyder panel were recorded were late July, where most of the stuff was recorded was late July. Right. So that's
except when the fans that were on the Snyder panel recorded right around then.
And then the fact that it was dropped on Thursday, 2 days before, you almost want that day buffer in between the news, I guess. I don't know, in between that and the fandom. You're okay, you got all this big buzz that's happening on Thursday. I mean, Thursday was crazy. There was a lot of news that were out there, and then all of a sudden it just kind of simmers down Friday, and then Saturday, it's like, all right, now bring on fandom. You almost want that little buffer, I guess, in between. And we got the sexiest bald man in the world joining us right now. Just Long Swenson.
Hey.
Yes, how you
the
doing?
sexiest bald man is already here. He's up.
No. I'm sorry, Scott. Yeah.
Let's cool them here.
Well, I mean, we have so
I'm
many
not- hey,
different ones.
I'm not bald. I'm just
That's right.
balding.
Balding.
There's a difference. It's not all gone yet.
That's different, Chris. It's not intentional.
That's very true. What's going on, Chris? How you doing today?
Good. Nice to be
Good.
with professionals. Sure.
All right.
Oh,
I know.
oh, thanks a lot. Yeah.
Raz being the
You're up
only
for Forbes. I mean, like, come on, Forbes contributor.
Listen, man, I
No,
borrowed things from all you guys, so
I
I'll give you guys
knew it when I read your stuff. I'm like, wait a minute.
Where's my 5%?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
I know. Where's that? I need a little cut from that. But yeah, Swenson, we're just of course talking about the THR article. What were your thoughts when that thing dropped?
Is that additional photography?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
I came in late because of the kids. But yeah.
Damn,
No, I
kids.
I know, right? I mean, like, it's planned in a way. Like, when I first read that article, all you can do is get excited because, like, oh my God, it's Justice League. And then as you read down, it's like, and I'm pretty sure you already talked about that. It's like, wait a minute, what is this about? Wait, it's like 90% Ray Fisher and 10% of something. It's like they bundled it together so it gets fans excited, and then they're leading you on into something else entirely. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is a hit piece. But it also makes me wonder, is it real? I mean, we know additional photography needs to happen.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder said that. But so I was kind of wondering if Zack was going to post something like, yeah, it is indeed happening or not. But also, does that usually come out like that? Like, do additional photography news comes out in that type of fashion? I almost felt like they got something and they bundled it with something else.
It's not it depends on what it's for, right? Like, it's not typical news, but it's also not a typical movie.
Yeah.
Like the fact that
Right.
it's getting additional photography, I think, is more newsworthy than like any other movie getting additional photography, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like it's in COVID, first of all, so that's notable. Because any production that is happening, if you'll notice, is getting announcements related to that.
Especially the big ones, yeah.
Exactly, but also Cavill, Affleck, Godot. If the like, and obviously Fisher also, but like, and I know there's that thing came out about Cavill, and we can talk about that later maybe. But like the notion, and this is one of the things I said when it was first announced, I was like, just wait. Like, you think that this hype is crazy? Wait until Snyder posts a picture, on set with
them
with the Trinity again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
That's
and
not
you get
from
so much
2016.
when they've been now. I guess obviously Affleck is coming back, and Cavill is coming back, and so the contract situation that we had on May 20th isn't the same today as it was then. So it's not as much of a revelation. But after years of like confusion over like what's going to happen with Cavill, what's going to happen with Affleck, now they're both going to be back on set in character for Zack Snyder. It's a really, really big deal. Even if it's just additional photography.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring something up to piggyback on what Steven said about Ray Fisher putting the screenshot, the screen caps. And like, he's been very good at putting out statements, very good, even better at responding on hit pieces or articles that try to diminish the work that he's doing. So I think he should be very careful not to go into that direction of being to conspiracy theory, because then it will discredit him and everybody's gonna dismiss him. Somebody could easily put a piece out and say, "Listen, he's just making shit up. Look what he's doing."
Even if it's true, it's hard to prove. Which
it's hard to
prove.
prove.
Weird spot to advocate it then, because then you're out here, you're putting your neck out with no.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, and it feels like it was something like a fan would do, like try to put those little things together, then send it to him, and he's like, "Oh, you know what? This is true. Let me put it out there." So I think he should stick to what he's done very good so far, waiting for them to react and answer the way that he does, because every time he answers, he's just being like dead on. Like everything has been like it takes over of anything that's been been thrown at him.
Did he have an IG live today? I didn't catch it.
Yeah,
I heard some people say.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said that he did, and he was very optimistic about things.
Okay.
But according to Fabian Wagner, John Garth is here.
Oh man! Hey,
I don't know. I was told.
Hey, what's up? Hey,
I don't know.
Hey, it's okay. And you know what? I've literally been fucking waiting like 20 goddamn minutes as I've been driving home to fucking respond to Steven, because you know what? That motherfucker. You know what he sounds like? He sounds like he's on their THR side. Because here's the thing: when I fucking read that article, I went, you know what? I mean, granted, I called it a hit piece, but I was making it seem like it was a hit piece. But at the end of the day, let's look at what it was talking about, right? What was the purpose of the article? It was to talk about additional reshoots, right? Or additional photography, right? So
let's add the headline. I mean, the headline was focusing on the Fisher Warner Media situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so why was that? But you also remember I love how you were like, Boris is a lot more. He's a lot more professional. He knows how to do things. You're absolutely right. And guess what? That motherfucker, nothing against him. That motherfucker was also the one that said, hey, you know what? Zach talked to Josh Whedon about the reshoots back in May 27th or May 17th or whatever date it was, 2017. Okay.
Well, that was a quote from Emmerich that he published. That wasn't.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he still knows how to word things into the article, because that article was written very thoroughly and was given to us without even quotes, that this was a collective effort. Zach was stepping down. Whedon was being brought in. It was going to be connective. It was going to be all there. And you know what? Shit turned out not to be true. Right. I mean, at the end of the day, it still was the studio getting Boris to fucking write that shit, right? That's all I'm saying. The studio got them to do the same thing this time, because guess what? In the article, it's saying that Ray is in a fight with Warner Media. No, he's not. He's in a fight with Warner Brothers, okay?
It said Warner Media sister company, Warner Brothers.
When they start throwing these names out, when they bring up Josh Whedon, and when they try to say that Jeff Johns was under a lot of pressure, I'm going, what the fuck are you doing, Warner Brothers? You learned that, one, you can't just announce a new movie, because you tried that with the Frosty thing. That got rejected. Okay, well, now all of a sudden you try to do a PR statement with the Hamada situation. That fucking blows up in your face. So what you do now, you go, all right, we're going to have to get fucking smart, because we're obviously not doing something correctly. Let's go to the Hollywood Reporter. We know that they'll be able to do something for us. We'll make it basically in this light. And what you were saying and you were asking earlier was, well, where's the hit in the article? It's the overall message that it's giving out. There is no hit. There's no direct hit, because guess what? They know how to write their article, which is brilliant. But if you read, like Scott was saying, you know how to fucking interpret what that's saying. Why are you bringing up Ray doing anything involved with Flash when we're talking about Justice League footage? What the fuck does Flash have anything to do with Justice League footage? And if you're going to talk about controversy, if you're going to bring up Ray, why aren't we bringing up the big fucking elephant in the room? The fucking fact that Zach is coming back. Why are we not talking about that? Because
Zach doesn't have a legal dispute.
He doesn't, right? Okay. Well, what does additional photography have to do with legal dispute?
Because Cyborg is reprising his character when he's in a dispute over his portrayal.
He's on the call sheet.
He's in a dispute with Warner Brothers, correct?
Yeah.
Is Warner Brothers doing anything with the Zack Snyder Justice League?
His contract. I mean, I don't know the details of the contract. No. I mean, his contract is with.
No, it's not. They signed all new contracts. Who did they sign new contracts with?
I mean, do you know?
Sure. I mean, I'm just saying,
he has a contract to play the character with, and I don't know who it is, but I don't think he has a separate contract with Warner Brothers for the Flash than he has for.
So you're telling me all those contracts they signed back in 2014 with Warner Brothers, they did not have to re-sign anything for these new additional shoots for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Well, Ray's and Ezra's supposedly expired in like March or something like that.
So the new contract.
So yeah, there would be new contract.
Right. And who do you think that those new renewal contracts would be with? Because they definitely would.
Ursula should be with Warner Brothers.
Why not? That's what the movies are with. The Flash is with Warner Brothers.
Correct.
The Flash is with Warner Brothers.
Is Zack Snyder's Justice League?
No.
Who's Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I don't know that you can split up the companies that way when it comes to the contracts.
Absolutely, you can. Why? Why not? You're talking about.
No, you can't. You don't know what you're talking about. We have no idea how these contracts work.
My point is, though, is that Warner Brothers, if they're going to get called, if they're going to have a Flash film, or if they're going to be involved with anything, that's Warner Brothers' side. And if you're going to have something with Warner Max or HBO Max or whatever, that's HBO's side. That's a different contract, dude.
How do you know that?
Why? It's a business. What are you talking about, dude? You're not going to
AT&T owns all those assets. A contract is an asset.
Exactly. So let's use a different contract. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think what's it called? What is it? Lovecraft Country. Do you think they're signed on with Warner Brothers?
Yeah, that's actually a Warner Brothers production. Lovecraft Country is Warner Brothers TV produced.
It is. Oh, no, it is, right? So why would they be signed on with Warner Media or HBO Max?
I mean, you're talking about DC, which the sharing on that is different because Warner Brothers owns DC, and the contracts are going to be, I don't know, like does DC own the contracts? Does Warner Brothers own the contracts? Does AT&T own the contracts? I think you're making a lot of assumptions about where the contract belongs. I don't think it makes sense.
I'm just saying that there's a reason why that article literally said verbatim, Ray Fisher's in an argument with Warner Media.
I said Ray Fisher is an argument with Warner Media's sister company, Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is Warner Media's sister company.
They mentioned Warner Media several times.
Yeah, they did, and they specified the hierarchy was all correct. I went and double checked it. They said Warner Media's sister company.
Okay, but why bring that up? Why not just say Warner Brothers?
Because the fact that he's asking for an investigation from Warner Media is his whole point. And Warner Media is Warner Brothers' sister company. That's why he's going to them.
Right. So what does that have to do with additional photography?
Which part have to do with additional photography?
Everything that we just discussed, what does that have to do with
he's portraying a character that he has that he's portraying because he has a contract with these companies. And that the accusations that he has are as a result of this movie's production when it was under Warner Brothers, which is sister company with Warner Media. I mean, it's all interrelated. I don't see how you can separate it out.
I mean,
and I think it's also and it would be newsworthy that he is continuing. There's a continuing working relationship with said companies, while at the same time having a very public dispute with one of the companies that is interrelated.
Shiraz, you're kind of, you know some of this stuff. Like, what are your thoughts about this?
All right, so yeah, the main point I have is that THR's been sitting on this information for about a week. The new information about the call sheet, right? So they've been sitting on it since last week, and from what I understand, they were always planning 2 pieces to come out this week, right? And that was as of last Friday. They were planning to take out 2 pieces this week. Now, when I'm reading this piece, I don't know if originally they were thinking the 2 pieces were one piece completely separate about Zack Snyder's Justice League and the reshoots, and then one piece completely separate just about Ray Fisher. That's what I was inclined to think when I was first reading it. We'll find out later if tomorrow they're going to surprise us, but this is already the end of the week. I think that was the one piece combining 2 different pieces together. So then the next question is, why would you combine 2 pieces? Because what I heard, I'm fairly confident with this one. They were planning 2 pieces, and they were sitting on the call sheet stuff as of last week, right? So then it comes to why would you put it together? And then honestly, I'm inclined to believe that part of it is to kind of push the narrative that Warner Bros. Wants to push out against Ray Fisher, right? I think it's put out that way, but I do want to give Boris some credit, because if you look at the very basic 101 journalism reverse pyramid style of writing, right, you would put the least important information at the bottom of the piece, the most important information at the top. So the deeper you went, the more you got into Ray Fisher, but the Flash stuff specifically to do with what Ray's asking for, allegedly, according to THR, is at the bottom, like one of the last 2 paragraphs, if not the last one, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, what exactly is happening here, right? And who is it benefiting? Obviously, in the end of the day, it ended up being a stalemate for both sides, in my opinion, because we had 3 straight days where Zack Snyder was trending instead. And all the people who would normally be going after Ray Fisher or dissecting, oh, why did Ray say this, Ray say that? They instead were talking about, oh, why are we spending $70 million on Zack Snyder Justice League when we could be donating it for COVID research or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah, that was a stupid argument.
The narrative changed, right? And that narrative actually benefited, in my opinion, Ray Fisher a little bit because it did get all the heat away from that story. And then Warner Brothers, for them, was a stalemate. If they did want to make this a hit piece, it did not have the effect of being a hit piece because it ended up becoming Zack Snyder PR.
No one was talking about the Ray situation.
Nope.
Well,
everyone was talking about the additional photography.
The reshoots are yet another big win for Zack that everyone said he wouldn't get. Right, like when he announced that when he announced the whole slate way back when, people were like laughing at it and scoffing and like, this movie's never even happening, and if it does, it's certainly not getting additional photography.
Right
now, not only is he getting additional photography, he's getting $70 million on top of it. So like it's another situation of people saying this will never happen, and then Zack being like, no, "Are you sure?"
I mean, at what point did they say, okay, at what point did SAG said we need additional photography, and at what point did they agree to it? Because I remember Ray Fisher, who's been the most vocal person, said many times on some of his live stream, no, I'm not going back to those. There's no additional photography. SAG already shot everything he needed. And to me, like I always felt, and we always agreed that yes, there's got to be additional photography because the way that movies are shot is way different. How a 5-part TV series is shot. You know, you have your beginning, middle, and end when it comes to a movie. But when it's a show, a series, it's a whole completely different format. So you have to kind of massage the information, the video. What you have to fit that specific format, and with that includes additional photography.
And go back to the whiteboard that we saw behind the thank you video that Zack included at the end of the comic book debate video that Shiraz and his brothers produced.
Yeah,
there's enough clues because we know how Zack does.
Martian Manhunter was always
Martian Manhunter, Black Suit Superman. There were the numbers that we can now safely associate with maybe the 4 episodes. Yes. You know, I need to go back and look at that whiteboard again. But once again, it kind of says that he was already breaking out, and the theories were there back during that video at the end of that piece from Comic Book Debate, that it was him kind of planning out the 4-episode miniseries. So to your point, Ben, you know, at that point, he was already in the planning stages of what do I need to do to make sure this works as a
series,
as a 4-episode limited series.
Well, and we know there's some stuff that he didn't get to shoot, and so there's obviously a big question of like, is he shooting Darkseid killing Lois, for example? But also, what I'm curious about, since it's like a week. And you know, what kind of sets are needed for that? Is he going to shoot on green screen and then insert them into set pieces, or
that's what I was wondering?
Or you know, are they even going to be in costume? You know, so there's a lot of questions like that. So the other thought that I had is he shooting scenes that were like in the OG script that got cut, or is this what makes the difference between it being a movie cut up into 4 episodes versus a 4-part TV series where he actually gets to play with the structure and add more individualized arcs and endings and transitions and stuff with this, or maybe it's both.
And also not forget that while he did complete 100% of principal photography, there are certain things that he's revealed over the last 3 years, like the fact that he never got the pickup shot of Harry Lennox for the Martian Manhunter transition. That there are things that while he did complete 100% principal photography, there were still things that even back in 2016, 2017, he was intending to still shoot that had nothing to do with adding new stuff, but it was just, oh yeah, I was always going to get there just with Autumn and all the situation, that just never happened. So that's always been in our heads, that stuff still needs to get shot. I guess the question just becomes, when we hear from THR a week.
Well, because he announced Martian Manhunter, or revealed Martian Manhunter before he ever revealed the slate and the stuff that he wanted to shoot.
Yeah.
And so I remember that being the first moment of, this is something that that's what first started cluing me off onto. Like, first of all, he started teasing Darkseid in the history lesson, which I knew from talking to some people that had been cut before he, like, the timeline worked out that was cut like before, and he was replaced with Steppenwolf before Zach left, and he had started posting pictures of that frequently, and then also he revealed the Martian Manhunter thing, and that's when it started to get weird. Like, okay, why is he teasing stuff that we know for a fact isn't going to be in this version of the movie? And then he revealed the slate, and it was like, oh, he's making this into something bigger. But like, for your point, you need to have reshoots in order to do that.
Additional photography.
Yeah.
Here's my thing on all of this, though. And again, this leads to what I originally fucking said in May of 2019. If y'all fucking remember, I said, guess what? In order for the Snyder Cut of any type of thing to come out, it needs, from what they're telling me, about 40 million. Now, what people said, when people heard when I said that,
he promoted.
Here's the other thing. Yeah, I'm drinking. No, what the whole
every time someone plugs or says 40 million, we all drink.
Yeah, 40, just general.
40 club.
I mean, Jesus Christ. We're the 70 club now, though. Hey, sorry.
Whatever the adults were reading with that article, they said, okay, well, of course, why would it need extra money? Of course it would need extra money. He left during the middle of the production, right? They stopped doing everything he was working on and started working on what Joss Whedon was doing. So for any intellectual person, you would go, well, yeah, of course, he didn't finish the movie. He didn't finish it. Okay, great. Well, what happened was that people said,
do we need to define what you mean when you said he didn't finish, or does everybody in the chat and in the stream understand?
So what I mean by doesn't finish, I mean
there was a cool video about being finished and not finished. You guys saw that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So when you talk about like finishing, I mean like completed, visual effects are done, everything is ready to go, shot, it's done. He was not done with that in May. Okay, that's just impossible. Okay, he didn't have everything ready to go, finalized in May. That'd be crazy, right? So,
and it's something he's admitted multiple times since then. He said that the cut that he showed to Jason Momoa wasn't done. He said he wasn't going to show it. He didn't show it to Ray Fisher because he wasn't going to show Ray Fisher the cut until it was close to done. Yeah, because he was on pajamas and stuff. So like, we know there's a question of. Like
when it comes to the Momoa stuff, I'm like, he didn't just like, when Momoa visited, like they just sat down for 4 hours and watched something.
So, like, I'm sure he probably just showed it because he said he probably just showed him some stuff. But
yeah, it's not the whole thing.
Is that here's the thumb drive?
What happened after the article?
Yeah, they weren't like spooning on
This is what I think is truly so. A lot of people wanted to at that point in time. I was an enemy to Zack Snyder. To a lot of people, right? A lot of people were saying, "I'm anti-Snyder." I was against him from that point.
Well, you still are in the comments.
And it's funny because I was told that article is what got Zach and Debbie to look at the Snyder Cut in a different light. They went, "Okay, well, we have to look at some things." And I'm not taking credit for me saying like, "Oh, I wrote an article, they read it, and things." That's just what I was told.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter because we got it. But my whole point is that when I wrote that, I was writing it going, this is going to take an effort. Like they're a business. They need to understand that you can't just say we want to see it because we want to see it. Like you have to go, well, why do you want to see it? Like there's got to be a reason. Like, are you gonna buy it? Are you gonna rent it? You're gonna do all that stuff. How do you even come up with that kind of an idea? So the idea of it needing 40 million. I feel like fans would have said, okay, well, if that's what it's going to take. How do we prove to AT&T that we can give that to them,
right?
Or make them break even.
In hindsight, because we can do that now, they're spending more than that on the movie. So the notion that that was some sort of a roadblock, or that was like stopping anything, or that was somehow a negative, was not. I mean, imagine how, like, it's getting 70 million, and that's without fans actually pushing for them to give funding. That was with fans pushing for them to just release it. But what if fans had actually accepted, okay, it's going to be 40 and campaigned for that? Would we be getting 100 million to add to that? Just like, you know.
Because here's what I was told. I was told that, that number that I said, I was told that number was generous from Zach. Like, I wasn't told from Zach, but I was told. Zach told somebody that I know. He said that number was generous, and I was like, wow, okay. I mean, that's a serious number then, because he knows what it's probably going to take. Now, keep in mind, everybody that was starting to, like, now all of a sudden we come out to, oh, he's getting 70 million. Well, if we were already knowing that he was going to cost 40 million, we would have all been saying 30 million to do what he's doing, additional photography, and do those visual effects or finish it up or do any of that stuff to add another 30 minutes. 30 million to add basically another half hour of visual effects.
And change Steppenwolf back and add all the dark side stuff back in,
Like, and you let Junkee XL compose the rest of the score that's needed to fill out 4 hours.
You're like 30 million. That's not that bad, right? Oh, no. Now it's 70 million because guess what? Everybody went against my article and were saying, no, the movie's complete. It's done. It's ready to go. It exists. It's ready. And then they wanted to go with that and prove it to everybody that it was fucking complete. And guess what? That bit them in the ass, because now what happens is everybody's sitting there talking shit going, well, did it exist? Because now you're saying it needs 70 million. So which one is it? And it's like, nobody would have been saying anything like that right now. Had just everybody had read that article and went, okay, well,
I'm starting to see some of that negative aspects, like even in the comments in my videos, it's like they're saying like things like, well, Zach lied. He said it was done. And I'm like, oh man.
You know what? You know what I've seen more in the last 24 hours since the cost came up again than I saw the entirety since it was posted is on Vero when Zach said, of course it's not 100% done. It's got, it's still got stuff to do, as I've mentioned before. I don't think it matters. It's just like any movie has stuff left to do.
It's never finished.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because that came out, and at the time we were like, see, that's the state of the movie. Now, can we please like campaign for the money to be spent on this movie? And people were like, oh no, he just means like he would add more to it if he could, and like whatever. And then all of a sudden, now that like there's all this evidence out there that there is associated cost, and not just cost of converting it to a series and adding extra stuff, but like there's actually more of a cost associated. All of a sudden everyone's throwing that screenshot around. It's like
that's the nature of the beast, because I remember he was in Grace's show one time, and that's when she even asked him, how long is it gonna be? And he's like, oh, I don't even know how long it's gonna be, but it's gonna be longer. But I'm not gonna give you a number, because even if you take stuff out and you shorter than what you already give out, there's gonna be fans demanding that extra minute. So no matter what, there's still gonna be somebody complaining about it.
The goalpost always changes. Now the goalpost is like the 214 was done, and that's why he's doing more for the 4 hour. Right. It's like, well, the 214 wasn't done either.
But okay, let's just use
all of a sudden, everyone hates on Mark Hughes for several years. I mean, Mark like I have no personal issue with Mark, but he said the cut didn't exist and all that stuff for a long time. And then when he finally switched and started saying, oh no, the cut does exist, it's 90% done, whatever. There were people either said like, oh, forget you, like how dare you, like because you said that it was wrong for 2 years. And then when he was like, oh no, it's done, and everyone was like, oh no, you're right. And then he's like, well, it's 90% done. And like, oh no, you're wrong. And then now he says like, well, no, the 214 was 90% done. And then now everyone's like, look, Steven, Mark said it's 90% done. Yeah. It's like,
back then the 165 was 90% done.
Okay, and guys,
214.
And what I want to say,
70 million is what a week worth of additional photography is. You're out of your fucking mind, dude.
No, it's not.
Fuck Fuck you, dude. Fuck out of here. Sorry.
But according to Fabian Wagner, though,
stop. No, guys, here's the
Scott trying to get control of the classroom.
yes.
Kids,
Sit down.
his teacher.
He's up in the middle.
I'm in the whiteboard. I am in the whiteboard area right now, and and the part that gets me, because like so many of us, we have our day jobs. We're working our 9 to 5s, or my 8 to 3s, or whatever, and sometimes I literally just grab my phone at the end of the day, shake my head like I do sometimes on the stream with you children, seriously, and part of me just wants to go, who gives a flying crap? We're getting the movie. The movie is coming out next year. I don't give a crap.
I tweeted that out the other day, or yesterday, I think. I'm like, we're talking about the budget. We're talking about how much it was finished. We're talking about fucking Sam Benjamin as Green Lantern. What?
I'm back in time.
It's like, that was 2019. We're still in 2019.
No, I think,
and all I want to do is I want to look at the people who want to keep on arguing and go, I don't give a shit. The movie is happening. I'm getting it. I have a trailer. I have a teaser on HBO Max's YouTube page. I have merchandise that I can wear on my person. Get over yourselves and either watch the damn thing in 2021 or don't, and shut the hell up, because I'm getting the blasted movie I've waited for since 2017. If you're going to be happy
you've been
about
waiting
it
for this since 2016.
yeah, well, yeah, well,
Since that Dirt Rose.
Yeah,
well,
right.
But still, the point is, it's like, if you're not going to be happy about it, you're never going to be happy about it. Shut the fuck up. Okay?
I think
Do me a favor and just shut up. Now, if you're going to be happy about it, just be happy about it. I'm sorry. It must be my personality. It must be the way that I love to avoid conflict, that I could give a crap that not everyone agrees with me and is excited. If you want to be a whiny little bitch about this, you can be a whiny little bitch about this, and I can mute you or block you or just scroll through my timeline and go, ha ha ha, okay, moving on. I don't care.
This is what I love about Scott, Shiraz, and Chris. You guys you don't engage as much. Chris, I will say, in the past year, you've engaged a little bit more. You've been out there a little bit more, making those jabs. But yeah, you guys do. When it comes Steven, you're a little reserved too. But I think when it comes to me, Garza, fucking.
I mean,
I don't.
I stepped in it the past couple days.
No, Garza thrives on it.
I do regret it. But today, I was it today or was it yesterday when I said, what year is it? Because we're still talking about the same things. And I'm like, man, why, what the fuck? Why are we still talking about the same?
And what's frustrating is
yeah.
nobody understands the context of where any of this belongs in the discussion. So I completely agree with Scott. So this isn't to be like, well, actually, Scott, because I completely agree with that. But the stuff like the budget, for example, matters because we're talking about, there are people saying the Snyder Cut cost $70 million. How dare they? And if you want to be able to address that narrative and talk to them about that narrative, you first need to understand, okay, well, it always costs $40 million, right? Or 30 to 40 million or whatever. As Clay Enos told Shiraz and his bros on his show, 20 to 30, I think.
In 2018, right?
Yeah. So, so these numbers have been thrown around, but so that was always the case. And now a lot of these blue checks on Twitter that are all pissed off are mad because they always said that there'd be a cost, and they were attacked for suggesting that. And now the same people who are attacking them over that are attacking them over saying it's going to be 70 million. But understanding what the 70 million isn't all for additional stuff. and it's also not for putting the movie together. We got about $30 to $40 million to finish what he was originally doing, and then we've got another 30 to 40 million dedicated to expanding it beyond what it would have been. That's rudimentary math because we don't know what's being taken and given. But there's no that narrative is just like entirely gone, and it's just like this. People are like, "Oh, Snyder Cut takes 70 million. See, it never existed." And then people are like, "It always existed, 100%. They're spending $70 million to expand it." It's like, no, there's no way. They're not spending 70 million on 30 minutes of additional footage.
Nah.
But the point is, I guess my point, Stephen, is a lot of the people that you're just talking about are people who are just so entrenched in being right.
Yeah.
That they're not trying to look at this logically. They are not going to be persuaded or moved by any logical argument that can be presented. And I guess that's why I just throw up my hands and go, what the hell? I gotta go. I gotta go fix dinner.
I envy that because sometimes, I'll be good like 90% of the time, but then that 10%, all of a sudden I'm just like, I'll start like pounding the phone or pounding.
Why do you think I watch Film Junkee live, Dave? Exactly. I live vicariously through you.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll let it out through that. I mean, why do you think I got rid of the chair and I'm standing up? I can move around. I'm surprised I'm not jumping out of my chair.
I guess I wish that, to Stephen's point, if people aren't being intellectually on it, they're not engaging in an honest fashion about actually worried about what the truth is or what the facts are. They are entrenched in their position, and it's just about whatever they can listen to or quote or spit out that will, in some interpretation, fit their stance on either one of the extremes. So I just have a hard time getting riled up about things when I can look at it and go, you're not even approaching this objectively or with any kind of intellectual honesty. If you're not coming from that perspective, you are obviously in no way or fashion interested in being persuaded by any evidence whatsoever. Well, if that's the case, why waste my freaking time? And I'm just going to move on with my day.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Scott, honestly. Yeah, I think he and I think the same way on this very much. And I think it's part of it is that, it's about how much investment you want in, first of all, because I've been seeing it, of course, just watching and also interviewing people close to it. So seeing the fight from almost like a third party perspective for me, especially now, it's become so much like a battle of the ego for some people because the writing has been on the wall. I mean, there's first party sources right now who are just saying the right thing. And like you guys mentioned, in 2018, Clay basically said on our podcast that it's going to be 20 to 30 million. And
which podcast was that again?
Oh, it's the Comic Book Debate podcast. Faruqi Bros.
Drink.
But no drink for me. I'm going to dodge this one. But the year after we brought Clay one more time, and this time he said a number closer to 60 million. And he was like, so these numbers change, and they change for good, not for worse. And different expectations is actually for the betterment of the product that we were gonna get. And I think, especially now, like Scott said, that everything's coming out. We know what's happening. 70 million is not something to be angry about. Like, if you're angry that, oh no, I wasn't right about it, like, what's going on here? Because if you want to be right more than you want to see a good product, then I mean, what does that say about you? And I think that's what kind of the movement kind of ended up degrading into. If not, it was always kind of like that, but it was about who's right rather than who's gonna be putting the right narratives out there to actually get the cut out. And obviously, we saw how many things degraded out of that. But overall, it's I'm actually gonna leave from here, but my last point is that definitely it's 1 a.m. so I gotta sleep.
You're always so graceful with your exits. You're like, I have party words, and
beautiful.
Go ahead. I'll leave you with this.
Yeah, I'll leave it with that. At this point, I think Scott said it better than me. I can't do better than him on this one. But it's time to kind of bury the hatchet on some level and kind of enjoy this thing. And listen, now we got an official 70 million. The number's out there. It's going to be an elephant in the room until you let the elephant out. So let it out, guys. Now it's time to let it go a little bit. But what was done is done, and it's time to kind of start celebrating that 70 million. This is a good thing. It's not. I was wrong about it, and there's no point going back and trying to find new narratives of why it really was 8 million. But here's why this extra 62 came from. But I think, so that's basically my main thing. And then the Ray Fisher stuff, you guys already know where we stand on that. But I definitely think 90% of stuff Ray's done so far has been spot on. I think being a little careful with the retweets and the likes, I think that's part of that'll help like strengthen his case. But overall, I think it's going to be a very interesting chess game that we're in, and the fact that we get to be kind of so close to it, if not even be part of that narrative to help sway one way or the other, I think it's an important role to have. And all of us, in one way or another, we kind of have that journalistic integrity, even if you're just on YouTube or just on a podcast. So you all still, if you're putting information out there, if you're bringing something new to the table, even if it's analysis, then you're doing the right thing. So that's definitely my main thing. So shout out to all you guys. You guys can give a drink for yourselves, all the shows.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
Well said.
Shiraz
Faruqi, thank you for joining. I'm glad.
guys.
Thanks, Shiraz.
In particular,
Shiraz. Take it easy,
have
man.
the rest of your night. Go ahead. Comic book debate, Forbes, of course, and everybody was praising your latest article, which was great. And thank you for joining, man.
I appreciate the love, guys. Yeah. All right. Have a good one.
All right.
You too, Shiraz.
All right. Don't fight too much.
There was a mic drop. The man knows how to mic drop.
Yeah, he does.
You're right there, dude. I love that.
think another
that 70 million is, I mean, if anybody's like, if just thinking about it this way, right? I mean, like AT&T and HBO Max literally went, hey, Zach, look, we want you to finish it. This is how much we think it's going to cost. Are you okay with it? Like literally, that's the conversation that happened.
Well, the fact is that they're willing. Like
I know that's my point.
Celebrate the fact that Warner Media and AT&T are like, no, we think it's worth 70 million for you to do this thing.
Let me just tell you this. This is what I'm telling you, is that he originally would have gotten 250 million to make the movie that he didn't want to make. He was originally going to get 250. Now he's getting another 70 on top of the 200 that he already spent. Okay? That means he is technically getting 270 to make a film, going back to his original idea, knowing that it's going to be on HBO Max, knowing he's getting his real Steppenwolf, knowing he's going to film whatever he fucking wants. I've never seen a bigger just fucking like
perfect time, Dave.
That was phenomenally time. I'm waiting for the chat to catch up with us now.
I was like waiting for it. I was like, oh,
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, the fact that you're willing to invest in and something that I didn't even bring up that I wanted to, that Shiraz is here. He fucking put it brilliantly, just like I tweeted it out, just like Ben tweeted or mentioned it on Real Emotion Podcast. Was, dude, you're not gonna spend $70 fucking million on this one thing to go, it's a one and done. Like, who cares?
No,
dude?
fuck that.
We're good. No, dude, they're spending that because they're going, this is the potential to set something up for the next couple of years. This is what we're willing to invest right now to finish your vision. Sure, they haven't greenlit anything, but they are going to. There's going to be a season 2. And whether or not they combine Justice League 2 and 3's idea into that second season, I don't know why they would. They'd be foolish to do that. They need to stretch that motherfucker out as long as they can to make it into season 3. Fuck, dude, they could do season 4 and implement some kind of bat flick, story. I mean, I'm just saying, it's supposed to die.
One thing is also that we got to think about is that Zack Snyder had all this time to fine tune the script, to fine tune anything that he wanted to add into the story. And one of the things that Nolan always had the benefit of his trilogy, which is highly praised, is that he was given enough time to develop his story, to develop these characters. Even though he had a different story for the third one, and tragedy happened, then he had to kind of rearrange everything. But that's not his fault. But Zack Snyder is giving the money, is giving free range. He's doing what the story that he wanted to tell, and at the same time, he's had 2 years to pretty much tie in that story that how he wanted to tell it, and now he's gonna deliver that. So this is something that we should be celebrating, like Shiraz said. So the upside on everything that's happening with this movie is just like it's beyond anything that we expected or we were hoping to get.
And I think the part being missed in the whole narrative here, also behind how much money he's getting, is there was money in the budget that he didn't get to. I think Garza got to this partly when he was talking. There's money that was budgeted for Zack Snyder's movie that Zack Snyder never had the chance to spend on his movie because that part of post-production happened under Whedon's eye. Not only that, but a good chunk of Zack's time was spent developing a version of the movie that was compromised. And so there's a lot of budget in the original movie that went towards paying for something other than what we're going to get. Some of that was due to Whedon, some of that was due to Johns and other executives that were interfering with it. And so I don't know exactly how to do the calculation because who knows what percentage of it is like what Zack wanted. But I mean, we're probably getting, closer to a $250 million all said and done, 200 to 250 million dedicated towards Snyder's actual vision, not the, that's probably gonna be like 300 million or so spent. Or no, it's going to be, because it was 250, I think, was the budget, and then there was 30 more given to Whedon, which was probably way undershot because Hollywood accounting is bullshit. And then there's another 70 on top of that. So we're actually talking like 350 million.
Well, and how much? And then of course, you've also got the funky accounting that like how much of Justice League Immortal got rolled into that budget as well.
It goes into a lot of
but yeah, I think so. I think that's something that everybody on both sides, which I've noticed that like the like anti-Snyder people, but also like the Snyder the Snyder fan trolls have like engaging with them is shockingly similar on like an intellectual level. But that's something that everybody is kind of missing here, is that there was a good chunk of the budget that was dedicated towards producing Whedon's version of the movie. And so Zack getting the 70 million is really just him getting the budget that he was supposed to be allotted originally back.
Yeah, I mean, why are we arguing? Because it's kind of like, is that your money? No, it's not your money. And it's already approved. It's like, are you?
But also, they're giving jobs to people too. So that's the weirdest thing. But my question I want to ask you guys, I just want to ask this simple question. So let's say that they, this is the 4 hours. This is a mini series or whatever it's going to be. It's going to get a physical release. There's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't.
It should, because I need to buy it and put it on my shelf there. I'm just saying.
My question is, what, like the markup for that? Like, do you think it's going to be worth $99 or because you look at like the Blu-ray cost or 4K cost of Game of Thrones, and that's it's up there. That's like
HBO is proud of their
box sets.
HBO is proud of their box sets. Yeah.
Imagine this. Imagine the thought process going on behind a DVD or Blu-ray sale. I mean, they're gonna have to sell that.
That's a brilliant point, because if it was just a movie, even if it was a 3-hour movie, they would sell it for
one movie.
For what? Was it a new Blu-ray? $40? $30?
30 to 40, depending on whether you're getting a Blu-ray or a 4K, and depending on whether you're just getting a regular release or you're getting like a Best Buy Steelbook kind of release.
I bet you could even get the Zack Snyder 4-hour cut movie for Steelbook for $40, let's say. But they're probably also going to sell the episodic Blu-ray set for $80.
No,
right?
what you're really going to end up getting is I'm sorry, Dave, you want to chime in here?
I was just saying like the box would be
but what you're talking about, what you're really talking about here is what you're really getting is like the deluxe collector's edition box set, where in it you've got the 2 discs, that are going to be like episode 1, episode 2 on one disc, episode 3, episode 4 on a second disc, and then the bonus disc with the movie version on a third disc, plus any special features that are going to be included. And then most of these sets are coming in 4K plus Blu-ray plus digital. So you're already getting, so really what you're getting is so what you're talking about really is 6 discs, maybe 7 discs that are going to be the 4K and Blu-ray, the 4K and Blu-ray, the 4K and Blu-ray, plus maybe an additional Blu-ray disc with special features. So you're talking about a box set that if you wanted to be big spender, which, you know, I'm going to be, give me, you know, the 4K plus Blu-ray plus digital code that has the version as a 4-episode series and plus the movie cut. I mean, you're talking, I would not blink at something if it's like 4K and Blu-ray. I would not blink at the $80 price tag because that's what an HBO series costs. I think I spent $50 to get the steel book of Watchmen from Best Buy. I have to look at like what exactly price, but you know, that was, and that was, what was that, 8, 9 episodes for Watchmen. And but it wasn't any thicker than, because, you know, these discs can hold so much more. It wasn't any thicker than like a steel book that would hold, you know, one movie.
Yeah. Did it come with a book? Did it have like,
and you know, and
do you want me to? I have to go upstairs. I can show it to you, Chris. I mean, I'm just saying, I have this thing. But no, it actually didn't come with any book. It was just this really, it's steelbook. I mean, steelbook is worth the price to me because it's gorgeous. And if I'm going to collect physical media, I want to collect physical media in the prettiest, highest quality.
Yes. But here's the other thing. Here's what I was going to bring up, right? Let's say that they do this Justice League 1. Okay, the next season, let's say that they do a full-on 10 episodic format, okay? Because they're stretching it out. They know how to, they get Terrio involved, and they're going, all right, you never wrote the script for the Justice League 2. Let's go ahead and stretch it out. Terrio knows how to write long dialogue. So let's just put it this way. The Game of Thrones box set where you get this full-on fucking all these, the houses and all that, you get it from Best Buy. I think it was like $120 for 8 seasons. You're telling me that you could own Zack Snyder's literal Justice League series 1, 2, and 3 for the same amount with some kind of exclusivity from Best Buy and all these things? Dude, you know how many people would fucking just easily spend that money?
Monetization has always been, like you were talking about earlier, since that's the whole reason that the budget is even a question, is because it's always been a question of how do they monetize this. And that's what's so brilliant about HBO Max, is it provides them a way to properly justify the expense because of the streaming wars, because of streaming revenue and all that stuff. I was thinking, and I guess hypothetically this could work for Justice League, for the Snyder Cut when it comes out also, but even more so like for a potential second series is we were talking about a while back about like release schedule. What would be the most sensible? Like bi-weekly, might be pushing it. Monthly would be way too much. Yeah. What if, because we're talking about an entirely different like a different experience here. This is more of a movie than even Game of Thrones is, but it's less of a TV show that like it's like, you know, how exactly do you package this? And I think that especially with theaters are kind of going to be hurting when this is all over. Yeah. How cool would it be to have a every episode gets a 1 week theatrical release followed by 1 week of HBO Max exclusivity, and then the next episode comes out again 1 week in the theater, 1 week HBO Max.
Shit.
For every single one.
I'd be there. I mean, let's put it this way. ABC did that with the first episode of Inhumans that was shot on IMAX cameras.
The first episode.
I mean, and they did it where you could actually go to the theaters to watch the first episode of Inhumans.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
They were testing the waters with that.
Yeah.
If that is possible in a world that we live in, you better believe my butt would find its way. Because right now, here's the problem I'm running into. To your point, Stephen, I reactivated my A-list subscription for AMC, but now I'm running into the problem of
what to watch.
There's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing to go see.
How many movies a month is A-list good for?
No?
A-list is good for 3 a week.
3 a week.
Oh wow! Never mind. Damn. Because I was going to say that works. That could work for both. But if it's 3 a week, then that's like forget what I was saying. And it like I guess if you're talking theatrical, it would get complicated if you're delaying each episode for more than a week. But I think it's a very legitimate question of how much is a hour of Zack Snyder content worth in a theater? A, is it going to be a normal ticket price? B, would it be a normal, like, you're not going to do like a full run, right? Or you're not going to do maybe not going to be a wide release, and it's not going to be a full, like a typical like 3-month whatever run. But if you had it in there for 2 weeks in theaters, would that be how much of a drop would there be for week 2? Or what if it was 3 weeks? And then if you add in that, okay, once it's out in theaters, briefly exclusive, then it's on HBO Max. So you get I would pay to see it in theaters, and I would have HBO Max to watch it more at home. I know there's a lot of people that would do that.
Yeah, and even people that do not have HBO Max and they go and see in the movie theaters and they see, okay, if you want to watch the next episode before 2 weeks from now, you go sign up for HBO Max.
And if you package it with any kind of special, like an introduction or anything, I mean, I could easily even see it in the theaters Friday night before it premieres on Sunday night, or HBO Max has been dropping their things on Thursdays, like Raised by Wolves and everything, and Love Life. Everything's been dropping on Thursdays.
I know what's going on with Thursday now.
Well, because they're trying to get their day. It's like they get Thursdays.
So
Amazon's got Fridays. Everyone's trying to get their
HBO
day.
has Sunday. Yeah,
HBO has HBO Sunday.
Netflix is just everywhere whenever.
Yeah.
I mean, here it is. Buckle up.
But to your point, Stephen, it would be like I would show up. My wife would be watching the kids come hell or high water, or I would be calling in my parents going, Mom, Dad, you're watching The Boys. I would be there on a Monday, do a 2-night thing like Fathom Events, like Monday and Tuesday. I would be there Monday or Tuesday before it drops on a Thursday.
And sell a package ticket. I mean, they used to do that unlimited ticket, right? Where you'd get like a gold card or something like that, where you could see whatever the given movie was unlimited times. I don't know if they still do that often, but I know there was one like for BVS and some other stuff, where you pay it's like $100 or something, but you can see the movie.
Yes, all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so so you could do that and I actually think that in general that's a strategy that theaters might want to employ for TV. I mean, think of all the people, like I think you get better like daytime and matinee viewers if big TV shows like Game of Thrones and stuff got every episode released in theaters also.
Well, look at what Amazon's putting out. I could watch an episode of Jack Ryan on the big screen or The Boys. Like the streaming television has production qualities that work on the big screen.
How much would you pay to be able to see The Boys in theater?
That's the thing.
Or Raised by Wolves.
If I'm already paying with my Prime membership, if I'm paying for my HBO Max membership, why am I still having to pay for something that I could still watch? Because that's why I'm a subscriber.
Well, because
I'm a fan and I want to see it on the big ass screen.
Probably they can give you an incentive too. Probably give you a discount or something.
The question is though, is that for the book specifically, would I consider spending $20 to watch the episode that I can watch literally on my television a day later? I mean, honestly, like I'm asking that question. Like, would
I'm not saying it's a day. No, and to your point, Garza, I'm saying that's where give it to me 2 days early. Give it to me on a big ass screen, and maybe give me one of those, HBO when they broadcast something, they always stick that little 10-minute featurette at the end of the episode. Give that to me in theaters. It's like I even did something like this with Doctor Who, like when the 50th anniversary special aired. I watched it free on my TV. I still went 2 days later and saw it on the big screen. No, it was in 3D, but I went 2 days later after I saw it for free on my television, saw it in theaters, paid money, paid like $16-17 to watch the 50th anniversary special 2 days later again, and they had little featurettes after the credits that ended up being like special features on the Blu-ray release. But super fans will do that.
Well, and we're also not talking, like you said, for Fathom Events, we're not talking about like a full theatrical, like we're talking about
2 days.
Each episode is probably, I would say, like, I'd expect like 10 million max box office per episode, probably 5 to 10 million per episode at the box office with a distribution model like that. But the point is, that's on top of, you could try to stretch it more and like leave everyone in theaters for longer. So maybe it could make more. But the whole point is that you're making that on top of what your baseline subscription that you're going to make. I don't think you're going to cannibalize subscriptions drastically. Right. Like the people that are going to see it in theaters are very likely to be like, oh man, yeah, I want to see that again between and have their subscription open also, as if there's other content they want from HBO Max anyway. Also, it's a big marketing opportunity for HBO Max because everything is going to have, see the episode.
Well, and it's going to be, hey, you enjoyed this? Go subscribe to HBO Max. So you can watch it as many times as you want.
Also, IMAX, like the 33-to-1 aspect ratio.
Oh yeah, they'll help.
I wonder, is there going to be any plans for any of this to be? I mean, there's got to be, right?
If he can, he will. I think that I'll leave it at that.
They gave him 70 fucking million. You think he's not going?
Right.
Dude, there's potential in all these. Like him and Deb probably went fucking crazy, going, "This is everything we can do to convince them to give them 70 million, dude." Like that's in my mind. I'm going like, dude. Like we all knew about the 40 million. We all were kind of like, I mean, that's still a lot of money. Like, don't get. It's not a fucking just walk in the park like, oh, here's 40 million. Here's.
Well, we also guessed that now he'd probably get somewhere around 70 million after like when he got the deal. We were like, there's no way it's got to be way more now. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, still though, the audacity that we have to think about that with this movie of everything that has happened. Okay, the fact that this is now going to be a 5-year fucking movie that was old, that they are going, hey, dude, just imagine this. Hey, I know you shot this film 5 years ago, but we want to improve it. You know what? We're going to also do some new scenes. We're also going to just change it up a little bit. Oh, you know what? Here's 70 million to just do whatever you want. Like, dude, Ben Affleck doesn't look exactly like he looked 5 fucking years ago.
He looks like he looks
better a little bit. Let's be honest.
He looks more like he looked like 5 years ago than he did 4 years ago.
So in my head, I'm going, this is absolutely fucking nuts to even consider going.
But I also
here's 70 million.
I'm thriving on the fact that these reshoots, I'm betting, are going to be more seamless than the Whedon reshoots.
I know,
right? That's one of my favorite parts about this. We haven't talked about yet. Is that
end up redesigning the costumes a little bit to make them like, because not everybody's going to fit the same, so they're probably going to redesign the costume. They didn't do that for Whedon's. Obviously, you could totally fucking tell. Like anytime Ben Affleck was in his costume, like the fucking cowl didn't fit well. It just everything.
The Superman crest was off center.
He started on that. I was so pissed off when I saw that.
I'm actually looking forward to the fact that I'm going to have to listen to. I'm probably going to have to listen to some sort of commentary to go, oh, that's what was shot in 2020. Okay, cool. I want to be able to watch the movie and have no freaking clue what was 2016 and what was 2020.
This is what you're gonna do. and I only say this because I made it a point to send the articles and a couple of things to Zach going, look, dude, if they use the volume, and if those that aren't familiar with the volume, that's what Disney Mandalorian, they used it. It's a full-on LCD walls.
It's gorgeous.
Of course, that's an option for. I was talking earlier about if they're going to have sets or anything, but if they could, man, if he's got access to a volume type unit, man. Look out! With $70 million a week of reviews and the volume,
dude. I'm telling you, because here's the reaction I got. I told somebody, I was like, "Can you please just send him this information? I don't care how you send it to him. Just send it to him so that he's aware. Fuck it." And they sent it to him, and his response back to him was an emoji with a wink face. And I went,
he already knows.
Yeah, he knows about it. So my thought process.
So now if we find out that use the volume, Garz is going to be taking credit for it.
Well, yeah.
That's about right.
He told Grace.
But my point is that Westworld used it, and these are HBO shows. So Westworld, I think a couple of other episodes or productions on and HBO used it. So it could be done with film. It's not something strictly for digital filming. And so that's positive because that's a huge thing that Zach can use to basically recreate the Batcave without having to build that set. Because that's a massive fucking set, dude.
So what you're saying, Garza, is this is the way.
I don't have anything, but yes. I'm telling you.
As someone just pointed out in the chat, he did 300 with 65 million. And when he was using that's when he was inventing revolutionizing the technology.
If you watch it today, it looks absolutely fantastic.
And that's without the volume. Imagine if he had that kind of technology at the time.
That was him creating a cinematic language, as James Cameron has said before,
Yeah. But Westworld was 120, wasn't it?
Was it?
Was it
probably double. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Speaking of which, the 4K Blu-ray comes out for that.
Oh, it's already pre-ordered. The Steelbook is pre-ordered. I am waiting on that puppy to arrive.
For 300?
Well, my whole point though is
I didn't know.
It was 120 million, and that's almost a 3.5 hour fucking film. Okay, 3.5 hours of Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. He did that on 120 million budget. Okay. He's getting 70 fucking million for 26 extra minutes. Okay. Think about that. 26 extra minutes, 70 million.
Yeah. Okay. I think we should shift the conversation now to kind of like what I titled this whole thing, like, no friend of mine. What do you guys think about Diane Nelson? Kind of just like, she just kind of like, she planted like a little bomb and it went, and then she said, "I'm done. I'm out.
She fought it in the elevator."
That's the way you want to put it there, Ben. That's perfectly fine.
No, I like how
somebody clip that out.
I honestly, I feel really bad about the whole...
Chris, what were you saying? What were you saying, Chris?
Oh no, I was just commenting like there's a tweet that went out. I don't know who it says that she's like Pennywise that shows up
every 27 years.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I feel kind of bad for her because if anybody remembers back when she first started, this is like probably in 2018 or something. She said something about I think maybe she was saying something about the Joker is when it started, or maybe it was even
it was about that because you're talking about because Tim and I were following it in contact and that kind of thing, and she was discussing about Todd Phillips being able to him and Joaquin be able to do something that they wanted to do, and unfortunately trolls wanted to give her crap because they were under this
and that was one
apprehension.
That was one of the first times that I really got on the bad side of like kind of that more toxic side of fandom for calling them out for what I accused them of being toxic for going after Diane Nelson, and they're like, we were just the phrase is always like, we were just asking a question. And it's like, no, you weren't. Like, she had hundreds of people in her mentions being hostile.
Yeah, of course.
And it was ridiculous, especially considering that what she was saying was actually in support of Zach at the time.
Well, and she also and sorry, Steven, to interrupt, but also the point that Tim from DC Film Squadcast, he was DMing her on November 17th about the hashtag event, and she was excited, and she said something like "Happy for Zach," "Happy for Zach, glad he's doing this," and then Tim didn't share the DM conversation. Diane shared it. Diane put it out there that she was excited. I mean, Tim would never have shared a DM, and she did it. So she wanted to publicly put it out there that when the November 17th Twitter event happened, she was super excited.
Right. Well, there was another case where someone said something to her about your friend John's, and she said he's no friend of mine. But after what I started telling the story for was because after each of these incidences, she got like dogpiled and then deactivated her account. So after that first time,
articles
the thing, yeah, exactly. She deactivated her account, and then she came back, and then like November 17th happened, and she tweeted out. I don't know if she used the hashtag, but she tweeted out in support of the Snyder Cut. And there were articles. She got a bunch of attention again, and she left again. And then she came back. I don't know when she came back, but she's back again. She came back and said the thing about someone said, "Oh, is that what your buddy Jeff John said?" or something. And she says like, "Oh, he's no friend of mine." And then once again, everyone jumped on her, and some of it was positive in that case, but everyone like got a lot of attention is the point, and there were articles. And then she deactivated it again, and then she's back, and now she said this thing where someone was like, I can't remember what the new one was.
The new one was about his behavior towards other creators at DC Comics.
They know he treated them that way too, or something like that.
Yeah.
And now she's deactivated again. And I just want to point out that like this is why like people wonder why people aren't more vocal or don't talk out about this more. Like she obviously has the story she wants to tell, but like she can't. Like she's not been provided an environment like to actually tell it without it becoming this like huge thing. And so even this, she didn't get like negative backlash over it, but it's just she does this and then fans jump like all over it and like jump in her DMs or in the comments to be like, tell us what's going on, like whatever. Or even some people are still blaming her, like, well, you were the president at the time, and she's not the only one that like I know for a fact have cited like the toxicity of fandom on one or both sides as being like part of the reason that they don't want to be involved in any of this, at least publicly.
Right. Because you got to think about her position. She was broomed out with everybody else post Justice League. She was president of DC Entertainment at the time. She was out on medical leave at the time. She never got to return to her job from medical leave. Basically, she went out on medical leave and never came back. And so she obviously has.
She was like Drew Bledsoe with Tom Brady. That's essentially what happened. Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady. Like he got out and injured. Tom Brady comes in. Drew Bledsoe.
Are you saying who is Tom Brady in your analogy?
Tom Brady.
Is that your buddy? Is that your buddy Jeff Johns? Are you comparing your buddy Jeff Johns? No, he follows Real Anarchy on Twitter, right? Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying.
But the point is that she never even got to come back to her job because of the fallout of Justice League when executives across the board got broomed out. But she doesn't feel comfortable enough to share her side of the story because no matter where it's coming from, social media is toxic in one way or the other, that she doesn't even feel like she can speak the truth because she's going to be attacked from some quarter.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
That's what
because from our point of view, what we've gathered from the little little pull the pin and then and then bounce, because let's be honest, it's a smart play, because it's like I can get a little bit of truth out there before everyone, comes at me. And she obviously has other things she's trying to, she has a life she wants to live.
Right.
It's like if we could not just immediately jump on her and allow her to speak, because obviously whatever happened had an effect, and she wants to say something, but she just doesn't want to deal with the shitstorm.
And you think
that's going
I think that's going to happen anyway, because the thing is that she has tried numerous times to like be out there and speak about it, but again, like you said, it's always there's always a little group of people that come and attack her, and that happens not only with her, but it happens with everybody. I mean, I remember I saw a conversation of Dave going back and forth with somebody that that I know. I was like, why is this individual attacking him about this show? So imagine somebody like her, or her acumen, that is like well known in the industry. So,
but you also got to wonder, is Fisher talking to her? It's like, is there?
That's a very good point too.
I'm actually wondering, because he said if everyone remembers, he said a while back that he received an apology from
like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he said he received an apology from someone who was
implicated.
I don't. Yeah, he said implicated. Is that what he said? Implicated? Or
I think the word he used was I feel like the word he used was implicated.
I was very curious of who that was, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was her. And it would my belief is it would be something along the lines of, sorry, I didn't or couldn't do more. But like obviously she stands with him. With the things that she said about Jeff Johns.
Because once again, the interesting part about this comment is that it connects dots, not just from the movie side, it connects dots to the comic publishing side.
Right.
And that
the whole point of this, her interaction at all, is all stemmed from that THR article that came out that was talking about Snyder, because he was getting 70 million, and all these bloggers and all these critics were complaining about how come he's getting all this money. And then it led to, well, why are all these same people that are criticizing Zack Snyder are staying real quiet about Jeff Johns or something like that. Yeah. And that's what led to Diane coming out of the woodworks just randomly. I
can't remember if you guys remember. I told the story because I remember it was an industry story that the owner of my late comic book store told me back in 2011, 2012 at the launch of the New 52. And the story I was told was that Diane Nelson basically had to tell Jeff Johns, you can only write 2 series she basically had to put a constraint on Jeff Johns and say, you're only allowed to write 2 series at a time. If you want to write another series, you're going to have to drop one so that you're only ever writing 2 at a time. Because when he started the New 52, he was writing Justice League and he was writing Aquaman. And the only one he consistently kept the entire time was Justice League. And if he wanted to write anything else, you could tell he left one book before picking up another book. Now, in hindsight, you kind of get the sense of, and this is just me speculating, stop trying to take over everything.
Yeah.
You get 2 books. If you want to write something else, drop a book and let somebody else have a shot at the book.
And that leads exactly to him doing Flash. And I'm talking about movie-wise. Him taking over Flash for Rick. Him taking over the Batman with Batman. Him taking over Justice League with Zach. I mean, think about that. This is why he had his hand in all of these situations. Okay? Yeah. It's not coincidental that Rick ends up leaving, Batman ends up leaving, or Ben Affleck ends up leaving. Zach is going, Batman. I know. Yeah. Chris Terrio is getting pissed off because they're not using any of his lines. Like, dude, this isn't just one incident. This has happened. This has stemmed since his stint with DC. Yeah. Like, Chris, What do you think is going on with Diane Nelson just popping up randomly to shit on Jeff Johns again? Like, I'm curious.
I think she's always around. I think she's just always around, seeing
the background,
seeing the situations and things like that, and decided that's that moment. But it's interesting how she just replied to something. It's not an actual tweet. It's a reply tweet. Right. And she liked another tweet, and that's it. And then she's done.
I think people need to keep a lot of this in context too. Of she's not just someone who was like in the room where it happened, right? She is the former president of DC Entertainment.
Yeah.
Was she president or CEO of Quibi also?
Yeah, she was something she's a former. I wish I could see her bio before she deactivated. You can see her bio. She's a former Quibi executive.
But she's a top level executive across multiple companies over many years. If she wanted to put out a statement or drop receipts, she could put out she's fully versed in how to do this, right? She could make a phone call to THR, and there would be there could be an expose, just an interview with her, just dumping all the detail, right? So her doing this on Twitter, my take on it is, this is her. She thinks she'll reestablish it, and she'll be on Twitter or whatever casually, and then this stuff will pop up, and she engages with it. And then the fact that she keeps on deactivating, to me, says she doesn't expect, like, she wants to be able to participate in the conversation without being in the spotlight. And she can't, and she doesn't want the spotlight, and she doesn't want to dump everything in some public way. But she can't just say like, "Oh, trust me, they know," without all of a sudden every Snyder fan in the world is up her ass about this.
Hey, by the way, guys, I think I mischaracterized. I went back and did some research. According to the Variety article from June of 2018, she resigned. An insider stressed she was not forced out. It was her decision to leave.
So okay, it was a decision for Zach to leave too, right?
Yeah.
Come on. Like, no.
Touche.
No, it doesn't matter what is said. If it sounds like a duck, it walks like a duck. Guess what, dude?
But I'm also saying what I'm saying is that if she's been out on medical leave and that gave her some space to look at the situation.
I don't want to bring this up, dude, but if Zach's daughter passing away was the way for them to get it out, guess what? I'm just saying that there's so many ways that as a corporation you can use. And again, I'm speculating. I'm not saying
a little bit, but there were actual protection. Like for Zach's daughter, that's like insensitive and stuff. But in her case, if she's out on medical leave, did she have a baby, or am I thinking something else?
It was not that. She was having back. I remember, if I remember correctly, she was having back surgery.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't necessarily. I guess it would make a little bit. It wasn't maternity leave, but even so, there are protections, very serious protections in place for firing somebody, especially a woman, when she is on medical leave.
Yeah.
And now what they did with Zach. And what they did with Zach, they couldn't, like, what happened with Autumn was tragic and all sorts of stuff with that, but there's no like legal protection in place for that. It's just like unethical and sketch and like dirty to use that as a cover. Whereas like the law actually bans. Now, of course, the law doesn't necessarily stop stuff like that from happening, but I think she would have many recourses like under the law to go about.
If she's a female, let's just put it this way: if she's a female in Hollywood, would she feel like she has that kind of a foundation to go up against DC Entertainment, Warner Brothers, knowing full well who is running it, who is in charge of all of that? Like keep that in mind. Like I'm not saying that she did or she didn't. I'm just saying that for you to be a female in this Hollywood industry. I mean, dude, to go against.
I guess let me paint the potential counter narrative real quick then, instead of just kind of dancing around it. I think the thing that if I'm going to connect dots, and this is an assumption, I don't know anything about this, but to me, if I'm going to connect dots and try to figure out like the nature of her leaving, look at the stuff that was going on before, during, and after she left, and the stuff that's coming out now. And then so we know there's stuff problems with John's. There was all the stuff with
Sujihara.
Sujihara, and what's the name of the producer?
Sujihara's by the way, because I was looking it up.
What about Brett?
Yeah.
No. Sujihara appointed Diane Nelson. Diane Nelson's basically Jim Lee at this point.
Right.
So just think about that.
But all this stuff is going on, and also the Snyder Cut stuff happened, and the AT&T takeover, and so like she could have been forced out, but also based on the fact that she has been fairly vocal out like against John's, makes me question whether or not she was just kind of getting ahead of the curve to get out of there, and that was her saying like, I can't be a part of this. Like if this isn't,
it's gonna get ugly.
Like she's not a whistleblower.
She had a contingency of like getting out. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it would make sense for her to get out before everything blows up. Now we don't know what hand she had and everything, and how much she was manipulated or backstabbed into doing things that she didn't want to do. Yeah. But the fact that she hasn't directly been implicated in any of this, and she left around at the same time, and has been like, once again, the fact that this is all happening in like sneak tweets and then she's deleting her account, I think detracts
sneak tweets
from the fact that like we're not talking about like some low level or anonymous person who's like getting out secret messages on Twitter or something. Like we're talking about the former president of
DC. I'm saying. So imagine Jim Lee tweeting something out.
Right.
Like you'd be like, you take it seriously. You'd be like, damn, Jim. Like, okay.
Putting it out directly, it's in a response to somebody, or she's liking tweets, and then she deletes her account. So like she wants to say stuff, but she doesn't want the attention. And I really hope maybe she's involved in the investigation. That would be awesome, because I think that if anybody can drop the hammer on like what all is going down.
Now I know Grace Randolph did a video and she had like pretty much an expose on Jeff Johns, and it's kind of coincidentally that Diane Nelson came out like the day of or the day after. Is she one of the people that went to Grace and actually told her?
I mean, she said these people feel like it. She said they were not connected at any point. They worked for him. They, she said something about Stargirl, and one person comes out from the Stargirl cast allegedly. Everybody loves him. It's like, wow, that's weird, man. Because none of y'all are fucking talking about it. That's for sure.
There's a video. I didn't watch it, but I've been told that Stargirl panel on DC Fandom Day 2 was awkward. If you have context.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. All I watched with Johns was about the three Jokers. That's all.
Dude, he showed up in his fucking sunglasses and a hat.
I saw that. Yeah. Cool guy. Cool guy over here.
What I was told from some friends, Dave over at DC on Screen, and then Ray, the Flycast on the Squawkcast Media Network, was it was a little creepy how everyone was kind of like, thank you for this opportunity, Jeff. It's so like it was a little cringy how
that kiss the ring nonsense.
Yes,
they were kissing the ring. Fuck that, Jesus.
Did it sound anything like Joss is the right guy to come in and replace Zach?
Okay. Speaking of Joss, about that email that supposed,
Okay, I didn't even bother to read that. Like that's one of those things that honestly, in my bandwidth, I just went. I don't have time for this.
It makes Joss look like a victim for fucking sure. It really does. I mean, you read through that thing. I mean, the fact that I didn't watch Campia's show when apparently he accidentally displayed this or something like that, and people screenshot it, but there was blurred spots of the email, and I was like, that's weird. Why would he just show a blurred an email that has blurred out spots? And then I read the whole thing. I did a video, like one of the videos I did today, and I read the whole
automatically redacted.
Email. It makes Josh look like, oh man, he went into this situation just like, oh, he was trying to do something. The deadlines and everything was all like terrible. I'm like, yeah, I totally agree with that. Like the first paragraph, I'm like, yeah, he came into a shit show. Like what, like the deadlines and what he was expected to do. I can't even imagine anybody. James Cameron couldn't even fucking do that. Or Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott's a guy that goes, go, 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 go. I don't even think he could have pulled it off. But
you know who could have pulled it off?
Paragraph? Ooh, the
Joe
last
Johnston.
Paragraph. Huh?
Joe Johnston could have pulled it off.
Oh, okay. Here you go. Okay.
Well,
Jurassic Park 3, he tried.
Anybody with more
sounds like whew, I mean, it sounds like a scene out of The Boys. Like when they talk about everybody just telling them like, this is not your movie, Joss. It's like
it wasn't.
I know it wasn't, but do you think like
not technically, but also not officially? The official narrative was he's finishing Zach's movie, so I don't think it's wrong for the cast to remind him of that.
That's true.
And he only gets a screen, and when it was all said and done, he only got a screenplay credit. He doesn't even get a director's credit. When we can look at that movie and go, well, if we're being honest, most of the crap we're watching is something that you directed.
He directed all reshoots, so he's a glorified second unit director, really, is what it is, if he were to get any director's credit.
Yeah, sure.
The only situation is if you really think about it, as far as Jeff coming in and doing all that, he fucking signed up. That's why they gave him the money for it, okay? He knew the shit he was coming into. He's the one that fucking started it. Guess what? They were listening to him in 2016. He didn't like that Superman was dying. I'm just saying, he didn't like that. He was upset that they were going to kill Superman in BVS. So
prepare to revise your
Yeah, if the studio was listening to him, or at least he was in their ear, they had to have enough confidence that they went, this guy is talking to us enough to where we can go, you know what, we don't have a position, we're going to make you head of DC Films. But we know that you don't have the movie producer cred. This guy, John Berg, does. He doesn't know anything about comics, but he has the producer cred. So we're going to give you both this title because you've been talking to us. You've been explaining how you would run things, but you also haven't had that much producer credit. So let's bring him in, and that way you guys can work it as a team. And guess what? John decided he was going to fuck it all up again because that was it. I mean, all he had to do was let Snyder do what he wanted to do.
And that's why when I see videos like what's going on today, which is the interview with Dan Jurgens that just goes, thank you for being a comic book creator. That's like, I would be interested in seeing what another creator is trying to do. Like it's like, why can't we have more attitudes like that? Because there's more than enough examples of comic book creators who I just want to tell, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
I need to go back and
then you get Dan Jurgens that you're just like,
talk about the guy who created.
Yeah.
Oh, Rob Light.
Lightfield? Nah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want
to be blocked.
I didn't finish the I know it wasn't super long, but so I need to finish it because I only caught like the first bit. But I really appreciated right off the bat how he and I know he said this, but he's talked about appreciating Snyder's vision before, but he was like, I really appreciated where he was going with the story. I found it really interesting. Yep. And he said, I think I would like a bit more levity or a bit more lightness.
Right, he said brighter.
Brighter. It's like a little bit more brightness in Superman. But whatever, to compliment it. And it's like, how hard is that to say, to be like, I'm really interested in this. I really like it. I want to see more of it. I could have done with a little bit more brightness there, but whatever.
But
was interested to see vision.
That's where Zach was
leading to.
Yeah, because he even says, the Marvel, they do this well.
Formula.
But maybe part of the video you didn't hear was he goes, but Zach's on our tour. He has a story he wants to tell, and I wanted to see the story he wanted to tell. And I'm sitting here going, thank you, Dan, for being the adult in the room.
Yeah, right.
I wanted to bring this up.
Isn't it weird how many creatives that were involved in the death of Superman are like, yeah, I'm in favor of what Snyder was doing.
Yeah, I know. and guess who wasn't involved with it? Jeff Johns. And guess what? Who hated it? Jeff Johns. Anyways, listen,
he hated the comics.
Question because he hated the comics because I brought it up, and I don't have a drink, but I'll make you guys drink on the Real Emotion podcast this last Wednesday. I had made it a point, and I realized that I know that Zach wanted to film Lois dying in Justice League in the original version. Okay, now keep in mind that he's trying to build the most grounded, realistic take on Superman. Now, if we look at it from a standpoint of a story arc, we go, he loses his father in Man of Steel. Okay, but then he actually gets known to the world. So now he has become Superman. And in the second film, he basically sacrifices himself. Now, how does that guy react to the world embracing him in Justice League? Because that's kind of what the whole story was going to be about, right? Whether he puts the red and blue suit on or whether he's in the black suit, it's still about him coming back saying, I'm willing to sacrifice myself again, regardless of whatever threat it is for the, for the people of Earth. But then to have Lois die, this is the Superman that now has to deal with the death of a significant other in Justice League 2. How does he handle that? How does this? Wait. Before we move on, Scott, and I only say this because guess what? That's something that he would not have been able to control, because the whole point of Pa Kent dying in the 70s was from a heart attack, and guess what? He couldn't control that. Now this is something he wouldn't have been able to control either, because guess what?
He wasn't there.
As her in the cave, and now he's sitting there going, "You didn't tell me about this. Why didn't you tell me about it? I could have been here to do something about it, and you kept that from me."
And the part that gets me is it's not even, and Zach calls it the scary, we assume this when you're a scary idea. But you know what? Screw it. I have seen a version of the DC universe that's even freaking darker than that.
Yes,
and it's called Injustice. It's Injustice, where Superman kills Lois himself.
I know.
And becomes a dictator because the Joker tricks him into killing Lois with their unborn child. I'm sorry. Injustice goes darker than anything that Snyder was going to do.
One thing that I noticed after I had that conversation with John in the Real Emotion podcast.
Oh, very good. Very good, Ben.
Oh, thank you.
I was thinking, what would be the reason for him to wear the black suit? What if he's wearing the black suit because he's mourning?
I don't know.
What if he's mourning for Lois' death?
Well, I mean, in this version, though, I thought it was just symbolic that he was like reborn and he was gonna have to eventually get to back to
because it's the House of L.
Right, but
The question though is like,
we don't know that because the blue suit is there and the black suit is there. What if that was a choice that he made because it was still in mourning for?
I can see that being a factor. I think the thing that Zach said during the Man of Steel, maybe during BVS also,
it was definitely the Man of Steel watch.
When he said it in a live watch, that stuck out to me was that he characterized the red and blue suit as like their public. I think we talked about this before, and Dave called it the PR suit.
Yeah, PR suit. The PR suit. Yeah,
it's the red and blue suit is a symbol, not just for Superman, but for the House of L. Like if they're going to be doing something that's like in public, and they're going to be standing as a representative of the House of L, that would be the formal wear, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like how Homelander wears a fucking, the flag for a cape. It's like
right.
Because it's also a distinction that when we go back and look at the Krypton sequence in Man of Steel, all the Kryptonians, they're all black. That's all the black and silver because that was Kryptonian. Like that's what you wore.
Well, remember, look at the Ultimate Edition when you have John Stewart go like, he wears, he makes a joke. He's like, he wears red, white, and blue. He's got, the way that he talks about the costume is like, he's a patriotic guy.
Right. Well, and what Zach said was the black suit was like the family suit or like the more personal suit. And so to me, then, if you follow the Snyder's logic there, when you hear that he wears the black suit and Snyder said he was going to get the blue suit back at the end of a journey, to me, that journey is him deciding to stand up as a symbol to the world. Yeah. And so him choosing the black suit instead of the blue and red suit, I wouldn't be shocked if it had something to do with Lois, but also that's him saying, I am not a symbol. I can't stand in front of the world. I can't be a beacon.
I haven't earned it.
I'm not that yet. So so the moment in his journey he wears the blue and red suit again, that's him saying, I I am accepting the burden. It's go back to the talk with Pa Kent, right? About him, about saving people, and sort of Pa Kent being like, one day you'll need to decide what kind of man you want to be, or like the between Jor-El,
proud in front of the human race.
Yeah, exactly. And so you take that arc, and that very much, as we've seen, has been a like definitive of Superman's overall arc. And so you apply the suits to it, and the end of that, standing proud in front of the human race, that is him wearing the blue and red suit, him not knowing who he is, not knowing his identity, not being
the black suit.
Stand in front of them.
The black suit.
That's the black suit.
Well, and also it's the idea of the complaints you hear about Henry Cavill's Superman in Man of Steel and BVS, especially in BVS, how he seems reluctant or this or that, or the fact that we jumped the 18 months and we never get to see him being, we don't get to see him being Superman. It's because he's still uncomfortable in the role. It's him embracing Earth at the end. He embraces Earth at the end of Man of Steel when he snaps Zod's neck by literally killing the only other Kryptonian left in existence. Thank you. And you notice how I paused. I was like, I was ready. I was setting.
I felt it.
You are fast on that tonight.
I know.
But then he deals with the questioning, the deconstruction in BVS, where he's like, well, I'm trying to be the hero, and people are so easily turned against me because of Lex's plans. And then at the end of BVS, it's screw that. This is my world.
Yeah. Exactly.
And as we pointed out,
you are my world, and he sacrifices himself.
And the world now realizes that Superman is now he was that person for us, right? We stand behind him, and now all of a sudden he gets resurrected. Now we want to view him as that hero, right? But then all of a sudden Lois dies, and that tears his world apart, dude. That crushes his world. He cannot do anything about it.
Which is interesting that he would wear the blue and red suit once he's possessed by the anti-life equation, because it becomes a propaganda tool to use against the Earthlings.
Yeah, not to take credit, but we did talk about it in the Real Emotion podcast.
Jesus.
Yeah, but my whole overall point, though, is that talk about a three-dimensional type character. Like, we're seeing Superman not only lose his father, not only have to work. I mean, dude almost killed Lex Luthor with his heat vision when he found out that his mom was taken. He didn't even know where she was. He was about to fucking laser him. Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine this Superman realizing that the girl that he was about to marry, he sacrificed this world, his world, and he sacrificed himself so that she can live on. And she fucking ends up dying. Justice League 2, you would have to be going, how does this Superman continue to do these things? Like, what is he going to do? Like, at what point is he going to get over it? At what point is he going to be okay with being Superman again? Because that's what you have to realize, and how you ground this Superman. And I think that's why Zach was doing it.
And let's not ignore the fact at how important it makes Lois as a character. I mean, she is the key. She's not this supporting side character. She becomes the linchpin of the character's whole mythology and his arc. Yes.
It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I feel like he's filming Darkseid killing Lois at the end of Justice League. Yeah, absolutely. Because how do you can't do that in Justice League 2. You need that to be like, just like we needed BVS, just like we needed Man of Steel. We needed Zod to get killed. So that way BVS was, well, okay, Super's not going to do that again. Obviously, he doesn't need to. But then we needed Superman to die. Because
it all depends on what they do with the Nightmare, because the Lois dying, I don't know what they changed it to, but Lois dying was always the answer for why does the Nightmare timeline exist.
Yeah.
And so they could do it in Justice League 1, but also when they get to do a continuation, that could be held as as a lingering question of like, if they can get people to say what caused the nightmare in Justice League, there might be reason to hold that back to say, like, if they jump, like, 'cause we know, like, if they jump forward in time in Justice League, and we're like, okay, so what changed? What caused the nightmare to happen? Why did Superman turn bad? If that's a lingering question at the end of Justice League, that's a big talking point, as a cliffhanger going into Justice League 2. So I think killing Lois is definitely a good way to do that. But also, if that's not something that they get to shoot, that could be a big reveal that is held back as a even bigger cliffhanger for
Justice League 2.
Yeah,
Nightmare was always going to be there. It was always going to be the third film. That was going to be there, regardless of whatever happened. And so this is the situation we were talking about, is that timeline 1 gets wiped away because Flash goes back and now he's too soon. He's too early, but he wants Batman to know Lois Lane is the key. Think about those words that he is saying. You were right about him. Fear him, find us. Lois is the key. Dude, he doesn't say find the Flash or find us. He doesn't even say his fucking name. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't say anything.
Find us.
Lois Lane.
He hadn't gone to visit Grant Gustin Flash to get the name of the Flash yet. He didn't know to call himself the Flash until he met Grant Gustin.
It's funny that that's where he got his name from.
Yeah.
That's why they said him fandom. That's like crazy to me.
To tell Lois was important. That's the key. And so, okay, timeline 1 or A gets wiped out. Now we're in timeline B, and we are going to get into timeline B's nightmare as well. Because the whole point of reversing all of the shit of Lois dying is to avoid nightmare, right? Well, how do we do that? We have to go back again into a third timeline, and Justice League 3 is essentially what you'd be doing that in, to reset everything. And that's where timeline 3 is, where Batman ends up going, I'm not going to allow Lois to die. I'm going to sacrifice. Because that's the logical way.
By the way, you need to do a flow chart so we could show in the real emotion part.
No, what you need is Doc Brown's chalkboard from Back to the Future Part 2. Yeah, that's what you need.
Actually, I have an article on this that's half finished. I should probably finish up. But I think that's actually timeline 3 is the version that is saved. The version of Bruce. So in Batman v Superman, you have one timeline, and the second Flash visits, we don't see the end of that timeline, but that splits the timeline right there. We talked about this on Batman v Superman by the minute, by the way.
Oh, there we go. With Andrew Dice.
Andrew Dice, yes. But so that splits the timeline. We don't know what happens. Well, we do know what happens. The original timeline would have continued on and resulted in that version of the nightmare via whatever reason. But we don't see that story play out between Flash visiting and the nightmare happening. We just jump forward to the nightmare and we see Bruce die. Now, we know that that's not what ends up happening in the nightmare. So we know that nightmare is a separate continuity. So you go back then and we follow this new timeline that Bruce is on for the end of BVS. That's the version of Bruce that eventually says, oh, wait, he was too soon. That means we should send him back to the other portal. And then that would create a third timeline, which is the one where Lois lives. So timeline 2 is the nightmare that we see in the Justice League trailer. And then eventually that's, I assume, the same timeline as Bruce tells Cyborg use the other portal.
This is the one that saves Lois.
Right.
Yeah, the only way that it makes sense, because you can't just add another time. I mean, it's the timeline that we're all familiar with. Like, we already saw. That's the whole reason why he showed Batman fucking dying. Like, there was a reason why he says, she was my world, you took her from me, and then all of a sudden Flash shows up, says Lois is the key. See, Batman wasn't, it's not like he was physically there. What were you gonna say?
I was going to make a joke. It's just funny that when we broke this down on BVS by the minute,
I know.
It was one of those things where people were like, after the movie came out, people were so confused about this. And when we got to this minute in the podcast, we were like, okay, so sequence of events. Batman has a vision. Batman dies by evil Superman. Flash comes back in time and says, Bruce, listen to me now. It's Lois. It's Lois Lane. She is the key. You were right about him. You were always right about him.
Fear him.
Fear him. Find us, Bruce. You have to find us. And So this movie comes out in theaters, and people go, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
No, okay. No, honestly, the only thing that I can say is the fact that the first time I saw it, I couldn't completely understand every word Flash was saying.
Yes,
that's the one criticism I will say. However, I knew it was the Flash, so when I was sitting between my father and my wife, and they're like, "Who the hell is that?" And I'm going, "It's the Flash."
My buddy next to me, I was like, dude, it's a Flash. It's Flash. He's traveling through time. He's traveling through time. And I was like, that's what I was freaking out about. I actually probably didn't even catch what he said. And I was like, I was just freaking out that was him.
You got to think about it this way. If Cyborg has the vision when he plugs into the ship, right? And the vision is allegedly the storyboard that we got of Darkseid sitting on
storyboard that who got that storyboard?
I believe it was somebody named Dave Pena and Stephen Colbert, but I'm not sure. I
just helped release it.
But
Stephen credit. Come on.
So my point is, though, we're not seeing Euxis at that point in time. We're seeing Darkseid. Okay, he's with his whatever staff. He's doing something where he's sitting down, and then we see the world that is the nightmare, version, and then we see the Unity do something, and it explodes, and it does something that way. So if that's what happens and that's what Cyborg sees, then how does that relate to this other nightmare that we know is supposed to happen? That's supposed to show somehow or another Nightmare, Batman, Cyborg, and Flash all alive, knowing that they fucked up with Lois. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
There's so much shit we don't know about this nightmare world. And the fact that it was going to be the main.
That's what I love about timelines and time travel. It's so fucked up.
Well, and it also gets to the point of everyone who argues that that because of literally the 2.5-minute trailer that we saw at Fandom is all the quote spoilers we've received of a 4-hour movie, and people want to complain that things have been spoiled for us. And I'm sitting here going, I have no freaking clue what's happening in this movie.
Sometimes I come across threads on Twitter where people are trying to plug things into the movie. I think Lois dying was the most recent one, and it's hilarious because they're like, "Well, it can't happen after that because," and it's like
Oh no, they were saying it can't happen after that Justice League shot of them all standing together. I'm like, why the fuck not can it?
That's exactly when it would happen.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just that part, but it's like any part where people are like, any scene will come like, I can't figure out where that would fit in, where that would even fit in the movie. It's like, because you don't know what the movie is.
Since the film director in Twitter.
Haven't seen the movie.
Tell you this. If you were watching BVS and you understood what is happening, if they took out the communion scene with Lex and they took out the prison scene with Lex and Batman. Now keep in mind that involves a few SWAT people and Lex, CGI. And the prison scene involves 2 people that are walking up, Batman and Lex. Okay, so let's count that as 15 people in total. Let's just be generous. That's 15 people, 2 sets that are pretty closed. 15 people, two closed sets, and we have Bruce at the funeral, and he tells Wonder Woman, look, we need to stand together because something is coming. And she says, what? And he's like, just a feeling. If we did not have those 2 scenes with Lex and Batman, and we hear Bruce say, just a feeling, we would know based off of the nightmare scene or whatever that something is coming. We don't need to know what it is, but obviously something's coming. But you had those 2 fucking scenes that are so small and so like minor, and you go, holy shit, something really big is fucking coming. But we also understood it by
right. Well, and then you add in the fact that he said ding, the fact that Lex was saying ding, 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 ding,
instead
ding.
Of ping.
And I'm thinking ping, 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 ping. Considering that I just saw parademons in the and Garza, that's another point to bring up is that we saw an Omega symbol and parademons. As a DC fan, we know what's happening.
Yeah, but I had to explain to so many people.
You take those scenes out, and you're like, you still understand that something bigger is coming because the movie ends with dirt rising. So if you look at that from that point of Lois dying, dude, it's big fucking big implications.
I always get.
I like the fact that. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna give some credit to Zack Snyder body of work.
Don't do that.
but go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah,
No,
no, you
I was gonna say because I remember watching the movie in a family member. So in the whole ding didn't make any sense, but he actually forced them to actually go and look that information up. Oh, this is where it's from. So not only he's introducing all the giving us stuff that we already know, but he's also educating people on something that they didn't know about, and because they have to go and do the research and find out.
It's called The Fourth World by Jack Kirby.
Yes,
it's brilliant, and you should check it out because now look at almost any DC property. There's a credit at the end that says Fourth World created by Jack Kirby.
Even if he would have used Ping, then even for the general audience, they would have been like, "What?
Like King?"
But it did. But it did to a lot.
Ding, like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the right. He's right. Whatever it is that he's saying, he's right about. Ding, right. You got the answer. That's all I was gonna say.
I was gonna say I get nervous whenever, like, this is not to like reprimand any of us because like I do it too. But
go ahead, rep around away. I'm a nerd. I get it.
Because when we talk about like, oh, I had to explain that to my friends and stuff like that, like, I think there's a lot of fun in that, and I love doing that. And that's a big thing we do at Screen Rant. And obviously, I have a podcast, BBS by the Minute, where we do a lot of that. But I think that it should stand on its own 2 feet. I think it does, and so I'm not saying that as a criticism, but so much as I think often, look, we don't need to necessarily like Ben said, he is your friend or your cousin. Look that up on their own, but also like I was saying with these scenes, if you don't need to know who parademons are. You don't need to know what the mother box is. Look at what the information the movie provides you.
Correct.
And this is the thing that we talked about on BBS by the Minute as we walk through the movie minute by minute.
God, seriously.
Christ, man.
A new episode.
I didn't come. It's coming. We got some really cool stuff coming. It's just taking a while to edit. But we have like, so you get there and it's clear there's something weird. It's a dream sequence. It's a flash forward. It's something going on, and then you've got evil Superman, and then he wakes up in the Batcave, and there's papers flying, and then the Flash comes and delivers a message. Once again, he says, "It's Lois Lane. She's the key. Find us. You were right about him. You're always right about him. Fear him." And no, that doesn't make sense necessarily on first viewing. But like, if you actually go back and you watch it and you pay attention to the information being provided from the movie, you know, like, obviously the parademons are some kind of alien, right? There's obviously some kind of invasion force. Obviously, Superman is in cahoots with them. This is all information that is provided visually and narratively in the film itself. And so, well, I'm not saying don't explain it to your friends. I think that's part of the fun about these movies. But also, we need to. I don't want to take any credit away from Snyder by being like, I had to explain this to my friends.
You didn't have to.
And when it is there to be understood and identified. And one of the most frustrating things about this movie is that and I'm not going to drink again, but why Dyson even started doing BBS by the Minute in the first place is because this information is all there in the storytelling. It's all present. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Maybe you don't know exactly what parademons are, or you don't know what mother boxes are, but it's not relevant because, like with the mother box, he says ding, 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 but also he says
the bell has already been rung.
He's heard it out amongst the stars.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that God is dead, and and then there's the communion scene in there also, right? Like the context. Now, obviously, that wasn't there, like in the theatrical, but like this is all stuff that people can watch it and put together. Okay, Bruce had a vision of the future where he's leading a resistance and he gets killed by Superman. Why is Superman evil? Well, the Flash warns him after this that he needs to protect Lois in order to prevent the path from ending up that way.
Yeah, but
and Superman dies at the end, and Lex visits an alien and then tells Bruce that he's coming. Like, it all comes together, right? It all.
Yeah, but you're making the assumption. Wait, hold on, because this is with the notion that people digest information like we do. I mean, we are comic book and movie connoisseurs, so we see this kind of movie, and we are. What? Oh,
funny man.
Yeah, and we sort of put all these things together, but the general audience, they want to see A, B, C, D, E, F, and that's it, and be done with it. They don't want to digest this information and then try to dissect it afterwards.
No, Ben, they want me to explain them what a boom tube is. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So
no, of course not. And that's fine.
And again, like,
shouldn't do that. It's just that I like to. I want to make sure the narrative is not that this is necessary in order.
No, it's not necessary. But to both of your points, here's the thing. You have certain general audience members who want everything spoon-fed to them.
Yes.
Because there are people out there. There are people who I know personally
around Fast and Furious 9. Sorry.
Who do not believe, who actually believe that if you have to watch a movie a second time to get everything, the movie didn't do its job. Mm-hmm. I believe that if I have to watch a movie a second or third time, the movie is so well made that it gives me more to unpack. So then you just have the subjective nature of what do people want from their entertainment. The second point, so that's to Ben's point. To Steven's point also is the fact that the movie exists. You have the information you need for the narrative to work. But what we're also saying is that on a different level, as someone, it's illusion. I am making a reference that is assumed to be known by a certain audience. You read a book or an article, someone makes an illusion, they're expecting you to get it. And if you don't get it, it still has to work, but you are going to lose a layer of context and a layer of understanding. But if you have the prior knowledge to apply to that illusion, your enjoyment of the work of art is more enriched. And so I think the point is the movie works as it does if a general audience member is willing to watch it and absorb all the information that's being provided without it having to be, open up, here comes the airplane, and fed to you. But if you're a nerd, you're going, OMG, parademons, Omega symbol, Steppenwolf, mother boxes.
This is my whole point behind the whole Lois dying and why that would be focal point for Justice League 2. Because you're introducing Darkseid and Euxis and you're killing Steppenwolf in Justice League 1. You're not going to sit there and bring Darkseid in to the second film because you need him for the third film. That's why the whole arc is there. So that means you're also not going to be bringing in any other big bad villains because you have this big bad villain looming there. So what do you make the second film about? You make it about Superman not only dealing with grief, but what is he going to do? Like, what's the relationship with Batman now? Because I don't care who you are.
It's pretty fucked.
If you have somebody that you trust, do something. And me and Ben had talked about this. Like if somebody had took, let's just say somebody took my significant other. Let's just say I'm married. They take my wife on a surprise trip.
Please.
They think that I'm married. Yeah, I know. It's whatever. But and end up getting them killed under their watch without even telling me about it, dude. I'm going to be fucking furious. I'm going to want answers, and I want to know why I wasn't even told about this. And I didn't want to bring it up this point, but I mean, just think about it if it was a child too. If my brother takes my daughter, my 13-year-old daughter, and something like happens, dude, that's going to fuck me up. I'm not going to just be like, oh, okay, sorry, things happen. No, fuck you. I should have been there. Yeah. I should have been involved.
Should have been notified.
So imagine.
Yeah. Why was she there in the first place? That's a big question.
Be like, what the fuck was she doing? Why didn't you tell me about it?
Why is she in the Batcave?
Yeah, why is she there? Why didn't you tell me you were even doing anything? Why didn't you give me any kind of help? I could have been there to help. Like, so that dynamic of, you remember, I don't know if I'm making this up, but I could have sworn that the whole concept of the league joining in Justice League 1 was great, but it was gonna basically split up in Justice League 2. Am I making that up, or was that always like something?
Because we know that Cyborg, Flash, and Batman survive in the Nightmare timeline. It's greatly assumed based on that we lost Wonder Woman and Aquaman along the way.
Yeah, and so how do we get there? Like, you don't get there because you're fighting some villain. Like, no, because you're teaming up. You know what I mean? Like, you're not. So something has to happen internally, and that's why I think when you really think about it, if Lois dies, Superman is teetering on that unhinged. I'm gonna go to the anti-life equation because, I mean, I'm kind of teetering it. Like, how do you trust Batman at that point?
Yeah, you can't. I mean? Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. So Justice League 2 would have been like that whole team dynamic. Like, dude, how do you go from, hey, we're a team, we're doing this, but you let my wife die? You didn't tell me about it. Like, dude, I mean, that's got to be because Timeline 1 got fucked up when Flash visited Superman or Batman. Well, Lois still dies in that Timeline B, and that's the whole point of Nightmare existing. We're going to get to Nightmare regardless in Justice League 3. So Superman he can't just accept Lois dying. Like, he can't. And so that's why I'm saying, like, that would be such a dynamic and interesting way of viewing Superman, of how he deals with grief.
And I think this is a great point because Chris Wong Swinson, our resident Superman superfan, who was named after a Superman.
Yeah.
Seriously, Chris, we need your analysis. We need your input. Speak to us on the topic of Superman. Pontificate as you will.
I have a theory on why she's in the cave, but I won't say it here. But
for his own video. I get it. It's fine.
Oh,
no, I'm not gonna save it in my video. I just don't know if it's true or not. But
just say it then.
It's so
exclusive.
I literally Lois. I am literally saying Lois is dying in Justice League 1. I have no idea if it's true or not. Speak your point, man. Please.
Speak your truth. Speak your truth.
Okay, well, all right, fine. All the God shirt. You see the All the God shirt?
Yes.
I was wearing it when we talked to Zach. I mean, so yes, I've seen the shirt.
I think I know where you're going with this. I'm very interested in it.
The A symbol. It's a sinful thing.
Yes.
So
Scarlet
letter. So
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Lois has an affair with Bruce.
Wow.
So
Actually,
in Justice League 2, there is a falling out, and Lois and Clark are split ways, and that's why she's in. And I
have a theory that fixes it also.
But I have something that also supports that, Chris. Because with the All the God shirt, there was the reference contest.
Yeah.
I contributed. Zach responded to my analysis of the shirt, and I didn't comment on the A, but I did comment on the sword because, as Dave and I were talking before, y'all jokers showed up about me being a big King Arthur fan. I made the analogies in my shirt analysis of
Lancelot,
Superman is Arthur, and Batman is Lancelot, which makes Lois Guinevere. Yeah,
and Zach loves it.
And when Superman tells him, "You took her from me,"
yeah,
not you killed her.
And I've always had issue with the idea of Lois cheating on Superman.
Bruce must have the biggest dick in the world. Sorry, go ahead.
Especially with Bruce, that just doesn't seem to quite jive with like the rest of what's going on and like the way her character is. There's just a lot of things about the, like, how do you get from A to B? And like, sure, maybe there's a story there. What makes sense to me though is that we're talking about, did that actually happen, or was she in the Batcave for some other reason? And it's just like, it's not explainable. And so Superman believes, because Superman comes to the anti-life equation, right? So we're not talking about someone who's like necessarily rational here.
Anti-life equation.
Well, it could have been the dark side already.
You're talking about Batman who doesn't want to share information. Right. So he's not gonna tell Superman, "Hey, the Flash came back from the future and told me something that crap was going to go down." Like, Batman's the kind of character who would hold on. I mean, you're talking about a man who in the comics who has a takedown plan for every member of the Justice League.
Yeah, you're right.
So if he had her in the Batcave to protect her for whatever other reason, Darkseid shows up and kills her. It doesn't matter if they were actually having an affair. What actually makes more sense is Superman's like, how did she die? And he's like, well, she was in the Batcave. He's like, why was she in the Batcave? And he's like, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
And he's like,
the thought that she
Flash, Ezra the Flash, you know, his character, he came to me in the future. He doesn't know that he did it because it hasn't happened yet, and that was a different time. Like, dude, imagine that. That would sound like fucking crazy. But, but my thing is that, you know, I'd asked him about the that's right.
The clues were there.
That's how we found out that that's what that A represented. But then he asks me, and what does the world represent? And what did Superman say in BVS?
You're my world. You're my world.
Our world.
So Chris is
plus she works for the Daily Planet. So
and also
so much symbolism.
The Scarlet Letter would be something that he is applying to her.
Yeah,
the letter, the Scarlet Letter, I think makes sense as a, because the whole notion of the Scarlet Letter is like a very, like,
I mean, Bruce Wayne's a pimp, but he's not that much of a pimp.
Right.
I
don't know. Watch the animated series, Bruce and Lois. You know,
I don't like it. I just don't like it. I'm like, how does
Scarlet Letter is very much like a slut shaming thing. So if he's going,
no, it is. It's exactly what it is. So by the way, do not watch the Demi Moore movie. Read the book.
He's projecting that on her. I don't like that she actually did it. You know?
I prefer Easy A. With
Emma Stone, which is an excellent film.
Awesome movie, by the way.
So great. Love her in that movie.
Yeah, so the idea of Superman applying the label to her out of
anti-life,
resentment, jealousy, whatever,
love equal lies. So love equal lies. That's when you talked about the anti-life equation, I looked that up. And
Grant Morrison, beautiful. Yes,
that pulls out to me. Love equal lies, and I'm like, I applied that to the whole Superman thinking that she did something, and that would essentially
all you need is the thought. That's it. You don't.
The fact that she was in the Batcave with Bruce is all you need for Superman to be suspicious, and then you involve the anti-life equation.
Just plant the seed.
Yes. Yeah. Because once you've been infected, that's the beauty of the way Grant Morrison wrote the anti-life equation, is that it's a suggestion in your mind, and then mathematically it's like programming. It's brainwashing. You can't help but process everything through the lens that the anti-life equation I've had too much to drink and I can't get the word.
While you think
imposes on you. There we go.
But I think it has to get somewhere. There has to be an arc, a storyline where it gets to the point where Superman does not trust Lois. Yeah. I mean, they have to have separated. And Batman. So they must have separated, like Garza said, Justice League is over. They don't have, they're not teamed up.
But you don't have enough time to do that in a third film. Like, you have to do that.
What if Bruce has Lois in the Batcave because of the message from Flash? And he's like, the message said to protect her. So I've got her in the Batcave is the most safe place I know, or the most safe place he can put someone. And that is
thinking ahead of time, like, he showed up in my Batcave, so obviously that's where I need to be.
Right.
If he can show up to me in my Batcave, then okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. And so then she dies there. But like, yeah, and so almost it'd be crazy if Flash actually triggered. Like, we don't know what caused the nightmare the first time, but like, or maybe it's even a time loop. Maybe there's some kind of a time loop that we don't know.
Dude, yeah, you're getting into like the show Dark, where it's just like loop shit that ignites.
Like, if Flash had never appeared to Bruce,
Dave,
he never would have had
got
Lois
to
in the
get that
Batcave.
show on my queue. The way you talk about this,
Dude,
I'm like
telling
loving
you.
it.
That show is just like, I mean, when you're talking about time loops and shit like that, I mean, it really, I mean, that's the first thing I thought about.
Well, it's like the Matrix, where she's like, where he breaks the vase, and she's like, if I didn't say anything, would you have
done it? Yes.
Yeah.
Paradoxes are a bitch. I'm sorry.
If Flash had never appeared to Bruce, would Lois have been in the Batcave to be killed by Darkseid?
Yeah.
And so it could be a time loop that the victory is Bruce figuring out how to break the time loop.
Which ends up being him sacrificing himself
correct
to break the loop. Which then works in the idea of Batman being it's beautiful narratively, because you have Superman sacrificing himself in part 2. Batman's a broken character in part 2. He spends parts 3, 4, and 5 redeeming himself. And the ultimate redemption is him sacrificing himself the way Superman sacrificed himself. And it brings the ultimate redemption in death for Batman's character, because we were introduced to Batman as a broken Batman. I personally love them. If that's the 5-film arc, because it's about because Snyder has always said it's a Superman story.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's a Superman story. What is more amazing than Superman inspiring a character like Batman, 20-year veteran, broken, breaking his own rules, to eventually know, I will sacrifice myself so Superman can become the hero he's supposed to be.
Well, that goes to that line at the end of BVS. I won't fail him, I failed him in life. I won't fail him in death.
Yes.
Well, like that scene in Justice League, Superman was more human.
Yeah.
What? I see. I don't even remember the Whedon lines now.
It's a Whedon line. Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to more human than me.
Yeah. Something like
that. He's a better man.
You have him. Essentially, you have this human character, this normal human being, literally saving our entire world, just like Superman did at the very beginning of Man of Steel. That's the other thing that you got to think about. We're talking about two sides of the same, because regardless, the nightmare world's always going to happen. So that means half the humanity, if not all the humanity, is going out one way or the other. So you have Bruce, who is just a normal human being, literally saving the entire human species.
Fuck yeah, Batman.
Especially when he knows he cannot be brought back. Like Superman can sacrifice himself. Oh, they could bring me back again.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, dude.
But also, I think it ties back to Superman, because even though Batman gets to be that ultimate sacrificial hero at the end of the arc, his entire motivation has been living up to Superman's example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just reminded me of another line. What is it he says in the theatrical cut, where he's like, but what if it was something more powerful than a planet?
It's enough. You're asking me to remember something I literally have not seen since November 17th, 2017.
What if your cells were lying dormant, stronger than a planet or something like that? I'm like,
it produces enough energy to power a whole planet or something. Yeah. And then Bruce is like, but what if something was more powerful than a planet?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a true fan. I've hated this movie since day one. I've not seen it since 2017.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know what you all are talking about.
What are you trying to say?
What are you trying to say?
Hey,
I don't remember.
I'm just saying, there are real fans who have hated the movie all along. I'm just saying.
I hated it so much I dissected it. Okay, sorry.
I may have laughed out loud.
Well, according to Fabian Wagner.
Stop it, man.
Oh,
Stop
no.
it. I'm going to put you in timeout, and I want you to think about what you've done. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, Dad.
And
God's
again,
word, Dad.
And this is me saying that,
Here's a screenshot for you right now.
Yeah. For anybody that's saying like, oh, well, you can't kill Lois. Dude, we've had Lois in all of Man of Steel, in pretty much all of BVS, because she was a very integral part.
In the Ultimate Edition, she is a driving force of the plot.
Which is great. So in the third one, we're not going to see her that much, but that's okay because we've already had enough of her. So for her to be taken out off the board like that in the second one, to show you how important she is, like, dude, like we've had fucking 5 hours of Lois. Like, dude, we can have another film without her, okay? Like, knowing that she's that important and that she's integral to this Superman overall arc, I think is just genius. And I think that was the whole idea. Because you got to remember, when Zach was talking about it at SnyderCon, he said, we were thinking that people were going to think we were fucking crazy. And it's like, yeah, because you're killing Lois. Like, you're not just bringing her back. You're killing Lois. You just killed Superman. And now you're going to kill Lois? Dude, what the fuck?
You crazy asshole. I love it.
Yeah, you crazy motherfucker. What are you doing, dude? Like, that's what I'm assuming that the studios were like, dude, you can't kill Lois. You just killed Superman. Like, no. Sorry. Take that out. If anything, you're taking that out.
He's the anti-MCU, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, once again, it goes back to the idea of that the studios have they are so reactive, so I just
that would make sense.
Right. It's just oh my God, we can't we can't do that.
No. Literally, he just killed Superman and this is how they're reacting? No. You're taking that out. You're not killing Lois anymore.
Let alone that we killed Superman back in 1992. Like, it was and for a time it was the highest selling comic book.
And it was
Superman number 75 was the highest selling comic book, under X-Men number 1.
They killed Lois in fucking 1978, and guess what? He literally breaks all physics that we know and spins the world around and brings the whole thing back, okay?
Well, that's the way everyone loved, too, right? That's like the ideal.
Exactly. So,
and that wasn't even the original ending. In the original ending, he saved her because the ending of Superman 78 was supposed to be he deflects the nuke and the nuke blows up the Phantom Zone and releases Superman 78 originally, well, besides the fact that it was supposed to be Superman 1 and 2 was supposed to be one giant movie, the way that Mario Puzo, the author of The Godfather, wrote it. Mm-hmm. It's the idea that then when they broke it up into 2, it was originally supposed to be a cliffhanger where Lois doesn't die because the Earth spinning back around was always supposed to be the ending of Superman 2, which is why people get so confused when they watch the Donner cut and he still turns the Earth back around. It's because Donner was like, screw it. That was the way Superman 2 was supposed to end before the Salkinds made me change the end of the movie. That was of course before they actually fired me from Superman 2, even though I shot 75% of the sequel while I was shooting the first movie. I digress.
All right. I think we should get to the final topic that happened today is what do you guys think about Ryan Reynolds as Hawkman? I mean, all this hot.
All I'm saying is if you have HBO Max, go watch The Invisible Man. Because he was good in The Invisible Man.
Go watch The Invisible Man. Go back and watch the show Leverage. I fucking watched.
He was in Leverage. Okay.
Yes, he was.
I didn't know he was
in Leverage.
He was
in Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Outta Compton. Yes, he was one of the little nephews or kids in fucking Die Hard with a Vengeance, man. I mean, he's been around for a bit. I think to me, it's a good choice. I think I'm interested to see
no one saw that coming.
No, And you know what I loved was the Instagram story between him and Dwayne Johnson, where he detailed the phone
call.
He called him.
phone call.
That's so funny. I read it. Yeah.
It's right up there with
hilarious.
Henry Cavill missed the call that he got hired for Man of Steel because he was playing World of Warcraft. I love hearing these stories of like them just being regular people.
Yeah.
All excited and
they're all excited, and you're like he didn't even believe it was Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
On the phone. He thought he was being punked.
What I love too is like the articles were coming out. He's in talks. He's in talks. Then like
he confirmed
6 minutes later, he goes to Instagram and goes, "Well, out of the bag." And I was like, "Fuck, okay, there's no in talks. That the talks must have went well." Jeez.
Well, who was it a while back? I always like to go back to the I don't remember who originally tweeted it, but I thought it was very useful. They said if it's reported that they're in talks, it means they signed about a week ago.
Yes.
If it's reported, no, it was. I thought I bookmarked it somewhere. I'll have to find it somewhere. But it was a whole breakdown of like terminology used by the trades and what it usually implies about the timeline. So usually, if someone by the time the trades report someone is in talks, usually that means it's already a done deal.
So nice. Superman. Rick Cavill and Superman.
He's been in talks for like.
He's in talks in May.
Hey, Chris, have you watched Enola Holmes? He's already Sherlock Holmes. So I'm just saying.
The whole will he, won't he with Henry Cavill and Superman is really like perplexing and kind of frustrating for me because we've known since May that he's coming back as Superman. I'm so
when he showed up on the Man of Steel watch, it was like, come on,
official. Yeah.
Well, not just that, but like we've known that there was a contract. Like every time a topic comes up, people in the chat or on Twitter or whatever are always like, I just need to know that Henry's going to be back, man. It's like he's going to be back. Like what we know.
What more do you need?
I mean,
he doesn't have a solo movie greenlit yet, but he has a contract. He's in talks for multiple appearances.
Remember when they said he was done? And what did Cavill do? He was like, "Oh, wait a second, bitches! I got a Superman figure. I'm going to make a little video."
The whole Instagram video. It was like,
and he just held it up.
He always had an appearance left on his old contract, but his new contract, he's in talks for multiple. I think maybe what threw people was they were talking about that he's in talks for multiple cameos, and so they thought like the contract only allowed for cameos or something like that. That's not how contracts work. They're contracted for like appearances, and so what that meant was that he's got a contract. It's just that they don't have a solo movie for him to be in yet, but they have other opportunities for him to appear.
Because they also have production scheduled out to like 2022. So right. I mean, 2023. Is like the next slot, and let's not also forget that with the Rona, movie schedule dates are effed up beyond. Like nothing's coming out in 2020. I just assumed that,
which could be a reason why he even did or decided. Him and his manager decided, okay, let's get behind Zach because we don't have to worry about releasing it out in the theaters because that was in May. So let's go ahead and get with it.
Well, also because it's a guaranteed in like, and this is what I said back in November, was that like she wasn't letting him talk about the Snyder Cut, and I said that they are going to get behind the Snyder Cut the second they realize it's the best chance at him being Superman again. Mm-hmm. And that's the truth. He's going to be Superman in the Snyder Cut. A movie's going to come out where he doesn't have the fact that people keep on saying like, oh, are they doing reshoots so he doesn't have a mustache? It's like the mustache was created in reshoot. The reason
they don't get it.
If the reshoots never happened, his face would have been fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so hard to get. I'm sorry, that tweet that Umberto deleted that was the I guess they're gonna fix the mustache. No, they're not gonna fix the mustache. They're gonna use the footage where he never had the mustache.
Fuck that guy.
God, that guy. Jesus Christ. No, but I mean, like when it comes to the Black, I told it the Black Adam news, which is the Hawkman news. I mean, it was almost like when it comes to like casting Hawkman, do you actually think that they were going to go with a white guy? I mean, I think we talked about it because the origin of the character, being Egyptian.
That would have been very. Yeah, that's true. That would have been controversial.
I mean, once again, you got to remember that the default for all these characters at the time they were created was white, because that's what would have been accepted
Sorry,
reincarnated. He was reincarnated, right?
Reincarnated.
And let's also deal with the fact that Hawkman has one of the most complicated continuities between when is he reincarnated and when is he an alien, and when do they try as a Thanagarian, and when at times in the continuities do they try to like combine?
Honestly, I thought they were gonna go like Middle Eastern. I really thought they were gonna choose like a Middle Eastern actor, but all right.
Hey, they can make up their own kind of history.
Right,
really.
but here's the thing. It's Carter Hall, whether it's Carter Hall or it's Carter Hall, Thanagarian or Earth. Trust me, my brain.
I know.
Hurts.
I was like, say that 3 times fast.
I know exactly. It goes back to the point is nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Okay, so why
it
not?
matters to me. No,
it's all right. Dr. Fate will be white. Don't worry. He's got
Right.
Well, Kent Nelson is a very white name.
But unless they go with Khalid Hassad, who is another
true.
Dr. Fate,
True.
which why
I think
not?
we'll go with the original.
Might be
I
more.
think they're gonna go with the Khalid.
We'll go with the original.
Yeah, because where it's set. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why when there were like all these short lists that were coming out, like rumored short lists that
Like
were
99 names.
that were full of like white dudes. I was like, no, like there's no, like it's not even remotely believable. Like there is no version of reality where they end up casting a white dude in that role for a Dwayne Johnson produced movie.
Mhm.
Like no, it's gonna be diverse, and so they're gonna cast as many characters as they could they're going to cast as few white characters as possible. Just as
Adam Smasher is our white character.
Yeah,
There it is.
yeah.
There it is. There it is.
He already has.
And that's probably why Ryan Reynolds came out and joked about playing Hawk. He's like, dude, what? Like they knew probably back then. Like, I'm not gonna be a Hawk, man. What the fuck?
that's funny. They had that token white guy.
The token.
Well, and once again, Adam Smasher is a token white guy, which is fine because no matter what people want to argue, whatever arguments you want to have, Hawkman, Dr. Fate, I'm going to be honest, I'm not even familiar with Cyclone. And I'm sorry, on Fandom, if you've got movies where I'm going, who the hell are these characters? You're doing some
like Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Like Suicide Squad. You're doing some deep dives when even I go,
Yeah.
who the hell are these people? I mean, I don't even know who these people are.
I know. Scott, man.
Yeah, these
so-
are resident DC knowledge.
I mean, I'm supposed to be the encyclopedia, apparently.
Yeah, you're the fucking.
We always ask you.
And so I'm looking at, like, when I look at this casting, and I'm just like, sure, why not? Especially, he's a reincarnated character.
He is.
What reincarnation, or if he goes Thanagarian, or if they do some sort of blend of it.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's not a white dude.
No, I don't care.
The guy's a great
the
actor.
I like the actor. That's the
I
thing.
like the actor.
I like the actor. So
He's
I'm
a good
like,
actor.
Okay, I think it's about time to wrap it up. We're going like over 3.5 hours, boys. So I think we covered.
This is a Vodka stream.
This
is what we do.
This was a good one. I mean, last week we had, it was all about like movies we loved as kids and stuff like that. It was a fun one too. We had Meg, we had Amanda, and Steven. I want Amanda to show up more on the
Amanda must appear again.
Oh yeah, she was a lot of fun. I had a lot of DMs going. Amanda was great. She stole the show. And I was like, how dare you? That's my show.
She was just off camera for most of this one. She's
okay. No.
We're putting together an office.
But I knew like this one was like it was going to be one of those where we were going to be, doing this whole thing, and I was like, yeah. So, but this was a great show, guys. I mean, this was probably one of our longest, if not the longest one we had. And I think we had a lot of good conversations at this round table. So let's go around the horn and promote ourselves. Get your drinks ready. You got that aviation skin. I still need to try it out.
Hey,
He's got it. I still need to try that out. I need to pick up a bottle. Anyways, go ahead, Mr. Scott McClellan. Plug yourself.
Well, of course, you can find me on Twitter at ScottDC27. You can find my podcast, DC Film Squadcast, wherever your podcast can be found. We're also on Twitter at DC Film Squadcast. And, of course, you can find the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/squadcastmedia. And we can also be found on YouTube at Squadcast Media.
No one does it like Scott, man. Ben, you're next, and try to follow that.
I wish I was that sober.
I've been drinking the whole time, Ben. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's him not sober. That's the thing.
Holy crap. This is Ben, Mr. Everett, and I'm on Wednesday on the Real Emotion podcast. Hey, listen, guys, you can find me on Mr._Everett on Twitter, and you can always follow us on YouTube on our weekly podcast at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the Real Emotion
podcast.
There you go.
Okay, and according to Fabian Wagner,
oh God.
Well, I don't need to say anything because my buddy over there, he already said it. So I will say this: the reason why I was on my way home, I was spending some time with my daughter at her mom's place because her birthday is now officially right now. So
happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
So I'm shouting out to her.
That's awesome.
And yeah, man. So.
So she's 13 today?
It's her today.
Oh, you have officially a teenager.
Dang, you have a teenager now.
Wow. Probably one of the chillest.
Wow.
Dude, she was, I mean, probably, I don't know how I've done it. Like she was talking about this, she's in a production class now for school. And so she had to take like photos of nature and stuff. And she had to put it in a film or put it in like in a quick little presentation. And dude, I asked her, I was like, hey, did you, take any kind of Snyder shots? And dude, I could see it in there. I was like, damn, dude, she is like her visual, like mindset is so on point that, dude, I fucking Miyagi the shit out of her. Okay?
Wow.
I am so shocked that she has these skills of doing photos and the way she looks at things and the way she appreciates things, I'm like, dude, that's so fucking amazing. So
happy
for her moms.
Yeah, she's gonna be
birthday.
Yeah, she's gonna be amazing. She's gonna spend time with her mom tomorrow. Then I'm gonna get her on Sunday. So
there you go.
I'll probably be gone this whole weekend. So
awesome.
Sure, man.
Anyways, on to Chris.
Yes,
cool.
Chris
Wong Swenson at Ping Pong Flicks, anywhere at Ping Pong Flicks. On Ping Pong Flick Show on YouTube, pretty much your daily DC content of movies, shows, and video games. Hopefully we can get more video games.
Yeah.
So please like, subscribe, keep this hot dog light on. I'll see you next time.
Absolutely. And Mr. Stephen Colbert, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Colbert. You can find me on Twitter at smcolbert. You can also find me at I write at Screen Rant, and also am co-host of BVS by the Minute and Justice League by the Minute. BVS by the Minute has some really cool stuff coming up. I can't wait for everyone to hear.
If you just release it, come
wait,
on.
Are you guys gonna do like the theatrical and the Snyder Cut, or are you just the Snyder Cut?
For Justice League,
yeah,
we'll probably do a commentary for the theatrical, and then we'll do a weekly for the episols, and then after the episodes are done, we'll go back and do a.
You know what? I'm thinking like also too. We should all do it. We should all take a dive into the Justice League.
I was thinking for this stream, we've got to turn it.
I would love it.
Oh man, I know
2 hours.
Hey, we can drink. It could be it could be great.
I will be so hammered by the time that thing is over.
It's shorter than we are now.
We're gonna make
it only 2 hours. It's only 2 hours.
Less actually.
We're almost Snyder Cut at this point. Not quite.
We're almost Snyder Cut. 20 more minutes.
Anyways, guys, so it was great. And again, I'm just gonna throw also this out here too.
And also, I'm excited to watch the Snyder Cut because Joss Whedon sucks.
Absolutely. And that's
awesome.
That's pretty much what it is. Anyways, guys, I'm also Dave the Film Junkie. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, do all that stuff. And we appreciate you guys clicking in, and we'll see you I can't even talk now. We'll see you guys
talk to you another time.
I know. That's just same bat channel. All right. Talk to you guys later.